Hi everybody. How are you doing? I'm seeing there's a lot of shadow behind me. Okay, well, okay, never mind the shadow. That's okay for now. How are you doing? I hope everybody's fine. I hope you have prepared for the next weeks. So yeah, having a good time. I was outside today to take some photos and take some videos. I got my new phone, so I wanted to test that out. Yeah, but it was okay. The streets were kind of empty, but at the same time, it was still a lot of tourists. I don't know. Yeah, probably still they are still on vacation. I don't think they are here like arriving now or something like that. But anyways. It's pretty interesting to see that a lot of those are still on the roads. Yeah. Okay, so how are you doing? By the way, the chat is over here. Maybe I should, for the start, put the chat on my middle screen so I can see what you are saying. And let's start out with a little Q&A. If you have some questions, stuff like that. Also, I want to talk about my Facebook group because I ask people there to ask questions. Oh, maybe I can ask you, when I ask people to like suggest topics or ask questions that we can answer in the live stream, stuff like that, people seem to be a bit shy about that. And I try to figure out what I could do to like endorse people more, help people more to ask questions, suggest topics, stuff like that. Ideally in the group, because there we can collect all this kind of stuff. So, yeah. I want to figure that out, how to have more communication. But the Facebook group is very helpful to do that. Okay. So, hi everybody. Hi Jim. Hi Jeff. Hi Lori. Hi Vikevo. Hi NK. Hi Olaf. Hi David from New Zealand. Wow. Okay. Very cool. Good. Hi David. Kevin. Hi. How are you doing? Yeah, I think Kevin is one of my Okay, that sounds wrong. Not the oldest supporter, the longest, one of my longest supporters. How do you say that? Supported me for the longest time on Patreon, I think. Okay, new subscriber. I have to turn that off. It still makes that sound. Was there a video pop up? I think not. Okay, anyways, good. Wait, the chat is somewhere else. Hey, from Hamburg, Tap Lip Hop. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce it now. I'm sorry. Discord is better than Facebook. Yeah, I tried Discord. Hi, William. Discord is not for me because I'm not a live chat guy. I like to be able to respond to things like days later, and in a live chat, it's just like it's there, and then 5 seconds later, it's gone. So, and I can't scroll through things and search for information. I'm not that kind of a person to find that again. So, having things where I can just get back to some days later is much better for me. Who else is here? Hi, Tanner from Vancouver. Hi, Carlo from Trento. Wow, okay, cool. From San Antonio, Texas. Wow. Hi, David. Hi, Bart. Hi, Volker. Aus dem Westerwald. Hallo. Okay. Hey, from Iceland. Wow, cool. Sigfus, I hope I said that right. Jan from Holland, Heiko from Netherlands, Hans from Munich. I was living in Munich for several years, maybe 5-6 years. I'm not sure about that. Hi Gary, hi Patrick, also from Germany. Ken from Boston, Andreas from Lithuania. Hi, how are you doing? Okay, all right. Yeah, Vikevo from Netherlands. South Dakota, wow, from everywhere. That's so cool. It's so nice to have people from all over the world. Oh, by the way, when I talk about the group, I should probably share the link of the group. Let's switch the screen real quick so I can show you what I'm actually talking about. Wait, I need to open my browser first. There we go. So now we can switch. Bloop. There we go. Okay, so that's the group that I started. Everybody can join. It's not exclusive. I just made it private so you can post things without everybody on Facebook seeing it. If you have questions about your pictures, there's more privacy to discuss things. So this is why this is a private group, but everybody can join the group. So let's post this link here a couple of times in the chat so everybody can see it. There we go. Hey, Chini from Malaysia. Very nice. Olaf from Westfalen. Hi. Michelle from France. Wow, everywhere. Cool. Yeah. So now, like, the coronavirus is like the perfect situation to stay at home and play around with Affinity Photo, which I also intend to do. So that's very nice to have some, like, yeah, time to do these kind of things. So the Facebook group, as you can see here, I started the group because I tried Reddit, but Reddit is not for me. Like, and I think a lot of people also don't really use Reddit. It's kind of, it doesn't look good. It's kind of confusing. But Facebook, I think everybody knows Facebook. Everybody knows how Facebook works. So it's very easy. Most people already have an account there, so they just need to sign up. So that's very easy it's much better to like have this kind of group. And you can see here, people can ask questions, stuff like that. I post a lot of exclusive stuff in here. For example, today I made a video where I tested my Osmo Mobile 3 in a little video, basically. To show off the camera moves you can do. I'm still very much a beginner in that kind of area, but it turned out pretty nice. And here I ask for pre-posts some questions for the live stream. So some people posted questions. I will answer them later in the stream. So that's pretty nice. And also 2 polls, by the way. So you see a lot of people are sharing things they created, asking about these kind of things. Where are the polls? 1 second, let me scroll down here. Is there any poll anywhere? I can't find one. Sorry, I thought it's easier to show one, but apparently not. The hell? Oh, there we go. You see, there's one, for example. So I ask people. So this, I think, also I had on YouTube, but then I on the community page, but then also I have other polls that are just for the group, stuff like that. Okay, cool. So if you want, you can join. Yes, 2 people asked to join. That's very nice. Approve, approve, approve. 3 people asked to join. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's go back to the group. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the chat real quick. Hey, Arturo from San Diego. Hi. Michelle from France. Ian. Hi, everybody. Hi. I missed the GIF import in Affinity. How do you handle GIFs? Affinity Photo doesn't have like the possibility to edit animated GIFs, so that's not possible. You can just like export GIF as a like a, how can I say, still format, not a loop, not a moving kind of short animation or stuff like that. Hi, Steve from Utah. 1 second, my cat wants into the room. 1 second, I'm back in 1 second. All right, I'm back. There we go. Which? Okay. Good. All right. Okay, so like the group has a lot of benefits, and it's like the possibility to be closer to the people that I like, my community, to talk with them, all these kind of things, and have all these kind of possibilities. Also, by the way, one thing I wanted to point out why I went away from Reddit is Facebook has a lot more abilities to do things. For example, I can answer, you can put images in comments, like you can see here, and then you can reply with an image in the comment. You can't do that on Reddit. You can do exclusive live streams in the group, which I have done twice so far. Rather short, very spontaneous ones, just to test it, but I want to do more about that. So to talk about topics with the community in a more like focused way. So that's pretty good. Let's see what the chat says. Message deleted. You can't post any links. So if this was a link, it's not showing up in the chat. Oh, you were time out. Okay. I'm sorry for that. It's an automatic thing. I didn't do that. Oh, it was done by Streamlabs. Okay, good. So you should be back in a second to be able to use the chat. Hi, Jeff. How are you doing? Yeah, so it's nice. It has very nice features. Okay, good. All right. Are there any questions, maybe? Yeah, I prevented links in the live stream chat because I don't know how to handle spam or things like that. So I didn't want like chatbots coming in and then 150 times posting a link about some kind of strange abusive site or stuff like that. And I don't know how to fix that. So I just banned all links. I can post links, of course, because it's my stream, but everybody else can't, just as like a prevention for spam. So that's the thing why I did that. I'm still using Affinity Designer. I decided not to do videos about that, and also not about Publisher. Maybe about Designer. I'm not sure. Maybe I will do videos about Designer, but I want to be focused a lot more about photography and photo editing. So of course, one of my, by the way, there is one thing that really changed. So as you know, I have recently bought a lot of gear to be able to go out on the streets, do photo shootings, film that, and make videos for you about that. But now, of course, with the virus, I can't. So hopefully this situation clarifies as soon as possible. Not just for my channel, of course, but for the sake of everybody, for the health of everybody. But then we can go also back. I can go outside and do photo shootings with people, stuff like that. Oh, my cat wants to be. You want to sit on my back? Huh? Okay. We have a second guest in the stream tonight. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So this is probably. No. Okay. Sorry. Wow. I hope your ears didn't explode with my mic falling off. Sorry. Okay. There we go. So now we should be... Wow. Okay. Whew. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so I can't do that for the moment. Why did I tell you that? I don't know. I completely lost my string here. Oh yeah, like I want to focus the channel more about photo editing. This is also a result, like, as you know, I have been on VidCon, which is it was in London. It is a event for YouTubers and for online creators. So there were also like other pages there. There were people from Instagram and people from TikTok and all these kind of things, talking about things and like talking about strategies and concepts for channels and stuff like that. And one of the results of all these kind of talks and how do you say, what's the right word, is that it's not good to have a channel where you are all over the place. And I can really understand this, because you don't want to have this from other services either, you know, like how can I say, if I have a channel which is very good for outdoors gear, and then suddenly they also do like a pancake cooking section, and they also do like knitting for cats, it's all like all over the place. It's very strange, you know. So if you're more focused, people will know, okay, this is the guy who does photo stuff. And also for me, it's easier because I don't have to know all of these other things about all of the other software. Yeah, so I want to focus more on that and rather not do too much about the Designer and Publisher. There are probably also other channels to do that. But this is also why I included NIK Collection, because I think it's a very good fit to like have these kind of two things together. Yeah, let's put the chat over here. Sorry, I have always to look over here, but then we can switch to the live view again, because right now it's not so, it doesn't really, there we go. Doesn't make sense to see the community all the time. My trip to London was very nice. Thanks, Jeff, for asking. I wanted to make a video about that. But I, like, as stupid as I am, I didn't buy the gear before I went. I bought it after I went, which, by the way, is also a result of being there. Because when I was at the event, I was like, I really need a smartphone. I missed out on a lot of opportunities there because I didn't have a smartphone. And I was, before I went there, I was thinking, should I buy an iPad because people want me to do videos about the iPad version? Or should I get a smartphone because I can do a lot of things that you can do with the smartphone? And but then on the event, I decided, like, it's like there is so much more potential inside of a smartphone. And the iPad version, I understand that people want to have videos about that, but it's at the same time very close to the desktop version. So that's like a small addition to my channel, and the smartphone is a huge addition to the channel because I can do so much things, like for example filming while doing photo shooting, stuff like that, because you need two cameras, of course, one that films and one that shoots, so stuff like that. I just asked a question. You just asked a question? Where is it? I stopped using Facebook in 2005. Ah, okay, yeah, well, sorry that you stopped using Facebook. I understand. It's not like several people have wrote me they don't use Facebook, they didn't want to use Facebook, but I mean, most people do. So it's like, it's better than Reddit because a lot more people don't want to use Reddit compared to not wanting to use Facebook. So I think that's a good compromise. Of course, you can't make always everybody happy with everything. So yeah, I'm sorry for if it doesn't work out for some people. I'm doing a class on photography. I showed your videos to the teacher. They were impressed with your videos. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. What format should I use to make images bigger without losing clarity? I mean, you can't really, because like there is just in the picture what's in the picture, and like you can't. The only way you can do that is like there is different software that is augmented by artificial intelligence, and this kind of invents new parts of the picture, like it makes new pixels on these kind of smart artificial intelligence algorithm, whatever it is happening there. And this works rather well. So you can search for these kind of software on Google. And this helps you get like a decent, bigger resolution picture from a smaller resolution picture. But otherwise, there isn't much of a way to like preserve or get more information into a picture that isn't there in the first place, you know. So that's a bit problematic. What is curve merging? I don't know what that is. Let him hang out around the screen. Yeah, he's jumping around. He's probably running around over the table several times. Yeah. Is there a way to use changes made with NIK Collection as mask layer in Affinity? You can, if you have changes made in the NIK Collection, you can save them as presets and then use it next time, but you can't like export it as a plugin on its own. And strangely enough, also the NIK Collection does not have a non-destructive way to work, so you can't save, as far as I know, you can't save the file of NIK Collection with all the settings preserved and then come back to it a later time. So that's a bit strange. You have to make the settings and then export it, and then it's like burned into the picture, like it's rendered as that, and you can't get back to that. That's a bit strange. Okay, sorry, 1 second. My cat is making some noise. Lulu. All right, sorry, I'm back again. Wait, there we go. Okay, where were we? Sorry. Also, what for the iPad? Yeah, I know, with the iPad, but I don't know. I mean, the thing for me is I don't really need an iPad, so I would only buy to make the videos, and then there is like, how can I say? I don't know. It's like, but maybe in the future. I'm still having it on my list, so maybe in the future that would be an idea. Is it worth upgrading NIK Collection? I actually don't know if it's worth upgrading. I had the very old collection from Google that was still free, and I think you can still download it for free. Someone shared a link where you can do that. And either in one of the affinity groups or inside of my fan group. So you can still download the old free version. From what I remember, the effects are rather similar. I don't think a lot of things have changed, but probably they have optimized a lot of things and maybe added filters that I haven't seen so far. Let's see. Doctor Strange Google image and see what I mean. Could you do something with Doctor Strange Google? I can look at the effects in the on Google Images. I don't think I can use Doctor Strange images in my videos because probably they will get I will get a copyright strike, something like that. So that it's not like the best idea to do that. Okay. So I thought I wrote down some questions here. Not questions, sorry, topics for the night. Let's start out really quick with I wanted to talk a little bit about the smartphone photography, which I found really interesting, especially now that I have a smartphone, because for the longest time I didn't have a smartphone. Because I never saw the reason why I need one, but of course now that I'm an online creator, it makes a lot more sense that I have a smartphone. So let's switch over to and then we go and do some Affinity Photo stuff, of course. So just real quick here, where is the thing? There is the thing. Okay, so I took some pictures today as a test, and I think some things jumped out to me that I thought maybe are interesting for you to know with these kind of things. So first of all, of course, you have, if you don't have a smartphone, you have a lot of lenses on the back. Can you see that? I think now you can see that. Whoop, there we go. So it's I think 3 different lenses, and then the white one you can see, that's the light, and then the small dot here in the corner, that is I think a 3D scanner or something like that. So this also makes 3D data for some reason for sharpness, but you can also use it for other stuff. So the interesting thing is that you have multiple lenses that you can photograph with at the same time. And this is also an interesting feature that you cannot literally do with a camera. For example, Samsung in their phones, maybe other phones have that too. They have a function, it's called single take. And the single take function, it takes several pictures at the same time. It also makes video and then makes different versions of these video that are edited in a different way. Also, the pictures are edited in a different way, like they make square cuts and long cuts and apply filters to that. Everything of that is happening automatically, and they make faster versions and looping versions of the video, stuff like that. So you end up with a selection of things, and some of them are pretty nice. And so the interesting thing to think about in that kind of situation is, if we think about what is photography and how do we use it, and if we think about what are pictures and how do we use it, of course, if we think about pictures in the past, they have always changed culturally in our society for what they mean and how people are represented in them. And of course, the value of the single picture, like if you think back for the time of the oil painting and then you had photography, the value of the picture changed a lot. And then you had these big machines to, okay, let's switch over again. Sorry for the live talk. So I just can talk about this for a second, and then we talk about the pictures. Sorry. So we had these big machines to take pictures, and then we had our private thing, so everybody can take pictures with that. But these are more if you think about them, they have been pictures that you want to preserve in a family album, so everybody the next generations can still look at them. But now we have pictures that are more in a way where you want to look at the pictures more maybe 5 seconds, and then they go away into social media and you never see them again ever, unless they come up again with a remix. Facebook is doing a little video automated from your best moments from the last year, stuff like that. So they are they have a very different value in our everyday life. And if you then think about a machine that makes photos and videos at the same time and gives you a choice of different styles of editing, so you save time on that, and different loops of video with music on that, and all these kind of things, so you can post in an instant different kind of versions of that, you can see that these kind of media forms like video and photography have become more of a language rather than an expression that you want to put in a book for your kids to look at in 10 years or stuff like that. So it has become more fluent, this kind of a way that we exchange emotions and feelings, and well, that's the same thing basically, but it's like a language, you can say. And also like a language, you say a word, you say a sentence, and then it just goes away and you say the next sentence. So you don't need to write down everything that you're saying or thinking. So photography has become a little bit of that. And that's very interesting, I think. Okay, a lot of talk. Let's go back to the pictures. Where's my 1 second? I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, so one thing I want to point out, by the way, I made these pictures, but I didn't take them in the highest resolution for some reason, because like I have this phone just for a couple of days. So these are 7.4 megapixels. And this is, by the way, the format of the screen. So this is full screen format photo. And I have to say, I really love this kind of format. This ultra wide, like it's even wider than our normal screens that are 16:9. I'm not sure what kind of ratio that is. But I really like it. It's very cool. And now you can see here, if we go to 100%, this is 50%. If we go to 100%, it's pretty good. It's pretty sharp. So that's very nice for a macro picture without a macro lens. That is very nice. Just from your phone. I'm pretty impressed. But, and you can see this here down on the line. And we can have another picture that is better to see that. Let's zoom in here. When you look at this here, this is not, I don't think this is chromatic aberration. I think this is something else. So the camera is doing a little bit of magic. You can see here also there, because it was a little bit windy, stuff was moving. So what the camera is doing, I think, like, I don't have proof for that, but I think it's doing that, is that it's taking several pictures at the same time, and then they merge this together to create a sharper picture than you would actually have from taking this one picture. And of course, your DSLR is not doing that kind of thing. And also, by the way, all of these pictures are HDR pictures without having to take multiple pictures. It's just you take one picture and boom, HDR like that, because it has multiple lenses, and it's every lens is a video lens, so it can take as many pictures as it wants at the same time. So that's very nice. And by the way, the reason why I think this is made from several pictures is because it has a night shot function, and with the night shot function you hold the phone for like 5, 6, 7 seconds. And during the time it's doing something, and then you see a really blurry picture that looks like really bad, and then it's calculating, and suddenly you have a sharp night picture. It looks great on the screen. It doesn't look that good when you look on it on your PC screen, because that's bigger, or your television screen, which is even bigger. But they are made to be seen on these little devices, and there the sharpness is really impressive. And if it's just for this small device, then that's what it's good for. By the way, another thing, this is me and my cat. Okay, so another thing to point out here, and I only thought about this after taking the picture, is so there's a lot of things happening in this picture at the same time, also done by the camera. But one thing that's really interesting here is look at the paw of the cat, how close it is to the camera, and like how deep the camera is, or like from the height of the paw. So if you think of a normal DSLR lens, of course that's like that big, like a beer can, stuff like that. So you would have to lay on the edge of the bed, and the camera is a little bit lower than the edge, so you would have the paw in that kind of situation where you see the paw that big in front of the lens. But because the lens on the camera is so small, like I don't know, like a pea or even smaller, like a pea, actually. You have the possibility to go very close to the ground, which you couldn't do with a normal lens, and get these kind of pictures from that kind of perspective. So that was really interesting. By the way, some other things that are also happening here. Whoa, my cat is coming back. I'm sorry. Lolo. Oh my God. Oh, sorry. Okay. Another thing that's happening here, if you look at the picture, like for example, if you look at the cat hair, which is really sharp, and then you look at my hand, which is kind of soft. So what the camera is doing while you take the picture, you don't have to edit anything, is that it finds the areas where there is hair and makes the hair sharper, and then it finds the area where there is skin and makes the skin softer and less wrinkly, and also with a warmer skin tone than you would normally have in a picture. So there's a lot of intelligent editing happening in the picture. So that is pretty interesting to see these kind of things happening, where like the thing to remember here is that these are this is kind of knowledge from professional photographers, from professional photo editors, that is basically put into software in the form of a software where you would think, how do you perceive a face, and how do you perceive also the gentle softness of skin, but also the like fine and sharp details of a face. And you would of course edit different parts of the face differently to bring these features out, and the camera knows that and also does that, which in normal life you actually have to think about, that this is you can do that, you should do that. This is kind of makes the picture like more interesting to look at. So it's really interesting that we have this kind of basically culture put into software in that kind of form. Okay, let's look at another picture here. And so last picture, and then we go away from the phone topic. I don't want to bore you with that. By the way, what does the chat say? Well, let's look at the chat real quick. Do I need 3-click mouse? Do I need 3-click mouse for Affinity Photo? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Okay, maybe I finish talking about this real quick and then I go back to the chat, because there's a lot of stuff in there. So the last thing basically that I want to say is, first of all, you can see here really beautifully how this is doing HDR while taking a single picture, which is very nice. And it does a great job of that, because often HDR, when people use software, they overdo it. It looks kind of strange, which can be an artistic art effect. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying often it looks very artificial. You might want that as the result, but maybe also not. And here it's very natural, I would say. But at the same time, you have this very wide angle of the camera. And that's also like a benefit of having these lenses, which you would normally have to buy, and they are kind of expensive. And then you have to change the lenses back and forward on your DSLR to get these kind of ultra wide lenses. And here you just have it. It's just in there. You push one button and it switches over to the next lens that has that kind of feature. My cat is coughing. I'm sorry. It's like a cat hospital and kindergarten tonight. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. And again, like with this super wide feature of the screen, it's so nice that you have like, it's a different view on the kind of situation, and the way you frame your picture, the way you make the composition of the picture changes so much about how you look at it, how you perceive the picture. So as a storytelling device and as a device of remembering things and stuff like that, or create things for your friends, this is really an interesting dimension. And I really think that the DSLRs are missing out on that. I don't understand why DSLRs don't have Android installed on it. You know, like make them maybe 100 or 200 euros more expensive, and then have me able to like install apps and stuff like that on my DSLR, so I can use all these things, and I can share things directly to Facebook from my camera, stuff like that, you know. So I think they are going BlackBerry with their stuff, you know what I mean? like they try to do things, but in a way that's like people are already like, no, sorry, we are already on another like level of doing things. Of course, I'm not saying DSLRs are bad, because they still have their place, because they can do things this camera can't do. And of course, the quality of this camera isn't as good as you would have with a DSLR. So you still need one, but for the everyday life, this is pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, let's go over to the chat. This was a bit of a long monologue. Sorry for that. Sorry, I'm always feeling a little bit stressed about being boring or stuff like that. Okay, what does it say here? I know that you are not a fan of document setup, no drop-down menu beside the sizes. What are the differences with the Wuga? What is the Wuga? What is that? I have to look at that. I don't know what that is actually. Let's have a look. New? Oh, sorry, it's over here. Zip. Oh, you mean this? Oh, these are just like different names for the different resolutions, which you don't really need to know. So you can see here, this has like, this is basically the name of, like SVGA is this, which this is what is SVGA? If you what was it like back in the day when you still had video, and this was like considered a high resolution. So I think this is that, and it's like 4:3, which are the old TV screens. I think it's Super VGA. Let's look that up. SVGA. What is that? Video display standard developed by the Video Electronics Standard Association. Yeah, Super VGA. That's it. Video graphics array. Yeah. So that back in the old days when your screen had a resolution of 800 by 600, this was like cool. And then you have all these other names which you really don't need to know actually. But they are in there because like in a professional surrounding, someone says, hey, we need in this kind of resolution, so you can just look it up by the name. I normally go by the resolution. Yeah. And also you have the devices, so it tells you the device name, stuff like that. Yeah. But like you said, I'm not happy with this, because I have to look through all of these and check this and this and this and this and this and this. And why isn't it a pop-down list? Why isn't it like here? Here you can see, I can see all values at the same time. I don't have to look here and then down here and then up here and then over here, like my eyes popping around like a billiard ball. I go to a list and I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? Boom. Like this. I mean, they use it for the filters. Wait, they use it here. So this is nice. You can see everything with one. It's like everything is at the same place. I really like that. It's very quick. It's very fast. Go over here. Boom. You have a list. Why would you do this like visually? I don't know. Okay. Especially it's not visually. That's the thing. If it was visually, that would be cool. Like if there was something, for example, if here was a social media tab and I had social media icons, and then it has like an icon that tells me, okay, this is the group header, and this is like the profile picture for, I don't know, for Twitter, for Tinder, for Facebook, for whatever, and you have it as icons, so I can go super quick through that. Boop, 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 boop. That's good. That's kind of nice, but still probably with the list is better. I don't know. But these names, like these are the names of the formats. And you can just like think like what kind of resolution does your screen have, and then go by that. So that's that. Also, and this is one thing I want to talk about today with the templates. You should create some templates for you if you often post on social media or do other things where you repeat the file formats. We will look into how to best use these kind of templates. Let's go back to the chat real quick. I've already read your text with the Arabic text problem. I would say write Affinity Photo, and hopefully they do that, but it might take some time, because you have to consider, like, their page looks really professional and everything looks like they're a huge company, but actually it's a pretty small team still. So it takes time for them to do things. So yeah. I don't think this is time saving. You need a ton of time to decide what version to use. And to be true, we tend to hold them all and do no decision anyway. I'm not sure what this is responding to. I don't think this is time saving, but what is this? So I'm sorry, you have to rephrase that somehow. Can you please say what computer specs you recommend for Affinity Photo? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I think it should be on the website what they recommend. I'm actually not sure. I have no idea about that. I should really read up about that so I can answer that question, but I don't know actually myself. So I just bought like what was good. I compared a lot of different, like there's online articles, they write about different things for photo editing, for video editing. And of course, like I do a lot of different things. So my computer is probably different from what you need, because I do photos, I do video cutting, I do live streaming. Of course, I also do a little bit of gaming. There's a lot of different stuff I do on the same computer. So I need different kind of specs for my computer that you might use for your computer. Memory upgrade. Yeah, you can buy a Mac. So there's everything in there, like ready-made. That's probably a good solution. A bit pricey, but it's a good solution. And they have good screens if you get an iMac, so that's good. Is that a Sphinx kitty? I don't know. Oh, you mean this one? No, this is a Cornish Rex, the black one. It looks a little bit like a naked cat, but it still has hair. But the hair, by the way, the hair is like from a sheep, so it's like curly, and it smells really good. Completely different than other cats. Really good smelling cat. I mean, other cats smell good too, but they smell like neutral, and this has an own smell. So that's pretty interesting. Will the developer persona in Affinity Photo ever be able to save raw data plus? I don't know. I have no idea what Affinity is doing in the future. They are not even telling creators, which I find a little bit strange. I asked them about that. Please inform me before you do things so I know and I can prepare a video. And they were like, not really. You can use the forum. So, yeah, okay. They don't want to talk about these things. Oh, yes. Leave a like on the video. That's nice. Thank you, Jeff. I don't know why this gets hidden. YouTube sometimes has a very strange filter for content. Very strange for comments. I don't know. Sometimes it is really... option of a smart camera? Yes, I too. Like a smart DSLR. I mean, they have a lot of programs in there. Like, by the way, this is so BlackBerry from the DSLRs that they do things like I have a filter in there for... What is it? I don't know. Let's say sports and then animals, and then you have like a pop color filter and a watercolor filter and a tilt shift filter, and they all look awful. They look like it's the equivalent of making a smartphone and then like only putting Snake on there and maybe Tetris, but a bad version of Tetris, which is called Batris or something like that, and that's it. Nothing else. You can't install other apps. You just have these two, and then you have a calendar, but that calendar can't sync, and it's really complicated to put anything in there. That's like the equivalent of having these kind of pop color and watercolor. And why? Why is this on there? I don't understand. They should really allow apps. They should do like any kind of version where it could have Android on your DSLR. I'm sorry. I'm ranting. I'm sorry about that. Probably come. Yeah, I mean, it already came in the sense of the smartphone. By the way, I want to show you one thing, and I'm hoping I'm not boring anyone with this. We will really soon, in a second, start with Affinity Photo editing and stuff like that. I'm so sorry. Moment lenses. I want to show you this. Oh God, where is it? There it is. So this is a company, it's called Moment, and they make, okay, now I'm not finding it. Oh yeah, they make these little lenses here, and they are for your smartphone. So you have a case. Can we see a picture here maybe? So you need a special case that snaps onto your smartphone, and then you put the lens onto the case. And these are pretty high quality lenses. I'm not affiliated with them. I just found out about them like some days ago. But the interesting thing is now here, if you look at the price, you would think like, oh, this is expensive for a smartphone. Like they have a kit. Where's the kit? They have like 5-6 lenses in the kit. I'm sorry, after this, I swear I will do Affinity Photo. I just want to show you this because I'm excited about this. 1 second. Where is the kit? I can't find it right now. I'm sorry. Am I stupid? What is going on? Oh, cameras, lenses. Here we go, lenses. So, please show me the kit. Come on, please. There it is. Okay, so 1 second. This is the last thing, then we do Affinity Photo. So if you look at this, you can see it has 5 different lenses in here, and it costs like $560. And you would think, wow, this is really expensive for lenses for your smartphone. But you have to remember, if you look at these lenses, what they are. It's an anamorphic lens, a fisheye lens, a macro lens, a tele lens, and a wide lens. And a fisheye lens alone for your DSLR is about 650 bucks. And then a good macro lens is another 600 bucks. So only for 2 lenses, you have spent double the price of this. So it's actually not that expensive if you think about it. And of course, you have these kind of other things, an anamorphic lens, which is also very nice. You can do some crazy stuff with these kind of lenses here. And the macro lens, from what I've seen from videos, I've never tested this, by the way, this is really pretty good. You can do some pretty cool stuff with that. So, okay, let's now really do Affinity Photo. I'm sorry. Oh, some people want to join here? Let's refresh this so I'm not keep people waiting. Yeah, 9 people. Hey, wow, thank you very much. The community is growing. Very nice. Okay, so now we really do Affinity Photo. Okay, so let's close these maybe. We have already looked at those. So the first thing I wanted to show you is with the templates. Should we start with the templates? I didn't like, yeah, let's do that real quick. So you can, of course, save any kind of Affinity Photo file in here. And one thing you might not know about, and this is kind of important here, is that, of course, all of the different social media pages have different sizes for the images that they expect to show the image in the right way, so it's not cropped in any kind of way or disturbed in a way it shouldn't be. So the cool thing is you can go into your browser and you can just look them up. For example, Facebook 2020 image sizes, and then you hopefully find a page, for example here, first result, and you can find this, and there it shows you the different sizes. Hopefully there's a lot of stuff in here. Where's the article? Okay, this is not the best page maybe to find that out. Didn't they have size guide? Let's look here. Maybe this is better. So usually they have a list in here and they show you the different sizes. Also, you see here different kind of safe zones, all these kind of things where you could put information, where you shouldn't put information. You can see here, for example, from the browser view and then from the smartphone view, you see different areas of the picture. So the most important information should be here in the middle. So if you know that, you can prepare a template for that and then always use that kind of template. So you would, for example, set up a file and say, I want to have this in a certain size. Like you can, I don't know, let's just use any size just for the sake of the argument. And then you can say, I will put some kind of guidelines here for wherever the information is safe and where I should have some certain information in here to use it next time. And you could put also files in here. For example, as you know, when I do my thumbnails for my for my YouTube videos, I always have my logo on the top left side. So of course I have this as a template, and this file always sits there on a layer. It doesn't move, it doesn't change size, it's always there, so I don't have to think about these kind of elements. And I have some text in there, so you can write some text like demo text. And then you can set it up, okay, already writing wrong. You can set it up with a font, so people recognize your pictures also by the font, or you can do a watermark, for example, like with your signature or whatever you want to put in there. You can write things out, copyright 2020, created by so-and-so, stuff like that, and maybe your email address, whatever kind of information you want to have in here. My cat is coming back, I'm sorry. So I would use that to create these kind of things and put up, put in all the information you would use on a picture, and think about, where do I want to post my pictures? What kind of sizes, what kind of formats do I need for different pictures, sizes for maybe 500pics.com and Flickr and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I don't know where else you would share the pictures. You can prepare files for these, and then when you have prepared everything inside of Affinity Photo, you just go here to File and Export. So you see here, Export as Template. You can see here, Export as Template. Create a folder, and you can make multiple folders, as many as you want. So make one for social media, and then make one for your website portfolio, and maybe for your blog also. You know, all these kind of things where you put pictures and you need the different sizes. You can do that. And for example, if you have WordPress and you have a certain, you know, I have created a website for my page. I haven't really promoted it very much, but you can see here, for example, if you go to store, I created pages that look better than the Gumroad pages. So you see, you have here before and after, and you have this kind of effect here where the text is on top of the picture. So I have to have certain formats. I have to have certain kind of areas where information can go. Here you have a smaller preview picture where you can click to go to another area, which apparently this one is not linked, so I have to change that. But you get the information, you get the idea. So you can prepare this for your website, where you say, these are the pictures that I would need on my website on different formats, like here for the header picture, but then also here for a smaller thumbnail as a preview that you want to use on different pages. But another thing you have to think about is, when you, for example, use WordPress, you can install something that is called Yoast. This one here. Okay, there's a SEO plugin here. Does it show? Doesn't show. Okay, anyways, so this is for WordPress, and the interesting thing for that is you can already set up the thumbnails. When people share your post on Facebook, on Twitter, stuff like that, you can set up the thumbnail, the title, the subtitle, all this kind of information. So you can prepare the thumbnail to look perfect on these kind of pages when people share your content, or yourself share your content on other pages from your blog, from your website, stuff like that. And for that, these templates are really good to have. So that is very nice to have that. And then you export them into different folders, like I said, for the different users, like make one for social media and one for your website and one for your family album. I don't know, stuff like that, what you need to have. So this is an extremely good use of the templates for your private usage. And of course, you can also set up different formats, like for online and for print, with the watermark already in the different sizes. And by the way, if you think about watermarks, create a template where you have the watermark maybe already set up in so they are prepared for different backgrounds. Like you have a dark background, you have a light background, you have a very noisy background with a lot of trees or grass or flowers in the background, stuff like that, where you have to prepare the watermark differently, because you can't read it. Like if you have just a white, like if you make the text and it's just white, and you have then a light picture, you can almost not see the text. So this is not really useful. So you have to think about what can I do I need a darker version also for situations where I have a dark picture. And then maybe also make a version where, for example, I just make a solid with a background. Let's make pink here just as an example. I put this behind, and then you can select both of them. And you just like use this aligning horizontally, vertically, click OK, and then Control and G to put it in a group. And so now it's in a group. And now you can just move it around any way you want. And it has a background. No matter what the picture behind it is, you can read the text, you know. So you have prepared different kind of watermarks for different kind of situations. They are always in the template, and you just turn them on and off. And not only does this save a ton of time, it saves a ton of thinking, because you would normally forget about several things where you think, oh, I need to put this in there, that in there. For example, for me, like in the past when I did these different videos about publisher and designer, and then like also Krita, stuff like that, I was like, okay, and now I need a logo again because I did a video about that. But now I have all of them in a template, so I can just turn them on and off. So when I make a video, I don't have to search for anything. Everything is there. I can just create. I can just boom, and I'm ready, you know? So it saves a lot of time and worry and all these kind of things. It's very, very nice to have. Let's have a look at the chat. Sorry, another like monologue. There we go. Okay. Wait, what did we talk about before? Message retracted, so I don't know. Which one do you use for social media? Like I said, I have prepared files that have the correct format for social media. So I looked up what works on social media. And like I said, you have to think about where do I want to post it? And this is really important because, and I don't know why Facebook does that. I don't know, like they want to bug people a little bit for some reason. I don't know why. But the pictures will show up differently depending on where you post it. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think on your private stream, like your own Facebook timeline, the format of pictures is different than on your page and on your group. So you have to think about these. I think the page and the group has the same format, but on the private timeline, it's a different format. I think for the reason because people, they take a lot of pictures of their cats and coffee and whatever they do. And these are like not as prepared as people who push publish things for brand reasons. So maybe that's a reason for that. I don't know. Yeah, so you have to look that up and then prepare a template. This is really good. And do this like every year or every half year. Look up if some of that changed. If you have a brand, you know, if you don't have a brand, if you do it for private reasons, if the cat is a little bit cut off on the side, it's not that important, you know. So, but if, of course, if you do like you want to advertise your photo service and then the half of the text of your brand name is cut off, it doesn't look good. Stuff like that. So, yeah. Sorry, I meant the function of the phone to build all these different pictures and video formats at once. Tend to post nearly every version into social media because they're around. No, it's called One Shot on Samsung, on the Samsung phone. I don't know if you have it on other maybe I can give you a quick preview. I'm sorry. Let's just do this real quick. Samsung One Shot. No, sorry, it's called Single Shot. It's called Single Shot. Single Shot. Or Single Take? No. Single Take. There we go. Single Take. Okay. Does it show something? No. Okay. Maybe here. Single Take. We see a little preview of that. It looks like this, basically. So you have these kind of different things here, and some of them are videos, as you can see here. Let's open this. There we go. Let's zoom in here a little bit. There we go. So you can see, like, and this is also cool. I'm sorry I'm talking about this again and not Affinity Photo. We come back to Affinity Photo in 1 second. So you can see, like, the phone decides for you, this is the best picture of all of the things that have been taken. You are the most likely to like this. And then it has also other versions. So this you can see is a little video, and then there's other, like, different edited versions of the pictures. And like, it doesn't take just one picture. So you move the camera around, it tells you move it a little bit left and right and up and down, stuff like that. So it has the chance to take different interesting pictures automatically when it comes into the situation. And this is really interesting, because if you might think, well, this takes away my artistic style, and how can a machine know that kind of thing? But if you think about a book, for example, you can have books about philosophy written by really smart people, and they hold the knowledge of these smart people on paper in a non-moving medium, you know? So a camera has code in there, and that code has, like, the knowledge of people who know a lot about composition and color and all these kind of artistic things, and this knowledge is built into the decision making of the camera, where the camera, when it sees something and says, hey, this is a good composition, it takes a picture at that moment. That's really cool. That's really interesting. Yeah. So yeah, it's like helping in a certain way. Okay, let's go back to the chat real quick. Oh, by the way, from being overwhelmed, yes, you probably keep a lot more pictures than you normally would. So that's true. I'm not sure you would share all of them, but you have the choice to share some of them, of course. I know I'm late and you may have discussed this, but will Affinity be able to work with other plugins? I don't know. They don't tell anyone. They're like, you know as much as I know about that. They have a forum about, like, the beta version. You can download that and you can discuss it. Like, if there are problems, you can suggest features, of course. But this is as far as it goes. They don't share any kind of other information. Okay, I agree with the smart camera app. Nikon has the Bridge app, their cloud version. Future photography. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Is there a way to batch watermark a group of photos? I have to admit, I've never used the batch function in Affinity Photo, so I actually don't know. We have to look. Let's see. Does Affinity Photo have a batch function? There are actually things I've never used in Affinity Photo. Oh, there is new batch job. Available macros. Distortion, light leak, apply macro. Oh, there's a bit more. Default. Oh, see, these are the, I see, okay. I don't see any way here where you can add a watermark or even a watermark text, which is a bit strange. I would have expected that, or at least like an EXIF, a little bit of EXIF, like you can put in your copyright and stuff like that, and that's applied automatically to all of them. There isn't a remove EXIF data thing, which, by the way, is very important. To point that out, this is a super important thing. If you save things, by the way, I've always not checked this here. If you export a picture, JPEG, is there more? Embed metadata. There it is. There's where's the info? Doesn't come. Okay, never mind. So I'm pretty sure this is that. So embed metadata is like all your EXIF data from the when you have taken the picture, stuff like that. The important oh no, this is the ICC profile. That's different. The important thing about the metadata is when you upload the picture. I think some pages might remove them, but for example, I think Flickr doesn't remove it because it uses it to sort the pictures for you. So, for example, if you take pictures of your children and you share them online and some bad people see these pictures and they have the EXIF data, there might be some geotagging in there that shows exactly where you live or where you are when you took the pictures. That's not good. So, or another situation, you photograph your car, you photograph your new TV, you photograph yourself with your jewelry, stuff like that, and there is a geotagging that shows where you live. Well, people can come by and say, wow, now this is my car. So you should remove that when you upload things to the internet. Don't upload things with metadata in them. Yeah. So that's important. And that should be like in batch editing, that should really be a function in here that you have that, that it removes all this kind of information when you create a new file. So apparently in here not, but I'm pretty sure that you can download software, probably free software, also open source software that allows this kind of thing, to just put a watermark on everything that you want to have. Which personally I don't do. I don't really have watermarks on my pictures, or if I do, it's like, it's just individual single pictures. I don't have to do it for hundreds of pictures. So the situation for me is a little bit different. Yeah. Please start. we are already in the middle of it, so I think this was already some good information about how to use Affinity Photo. Just guessing you will have to open all those files, then copy and paste on them. All those files? I'm not sure what you mean with that. Hey, greetings to Poland. Hi. Chasek? Is that the right pronunciation? Oh, there's a free macro. Okay, cool. So there's a free macro for your watermark. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. How we can use it? I could actually do a tutorial for that. Let's write this down. So watermark batch. Okay, cool. Good. So let's make this as a tutorial video. I think that might be a good topic. Okay, nice. Well, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about more of the template thing. So let's put in some picture here. Let's search for something. Dog picture. I don't know. Let's take this picture here. All right. It's a bit too big for our purposes. Good. So let's say you have set up some templates, or you want to set up some templates. Let's say it like that. So the good thing is, like I said, a template is nothing else but an Affinity Photo file. So you can put everything in there. And so if you, for example, if you have on Instagram or on your social media, have a certain style or something on how you create things, you can set this up here with all the layers. And I don't know, let's say, for example, we make here, what do we do? Let's make a curve layer and push this up a little bit. Or how should we, let's see. No, I don't know. You know what I mean. So you set up the picture in a certain way, how you want to have it. Maybe you want to have a grunge map or a frame or something on there. Should we have maybe taken a different picture? I don't know. Let's do some things here. This is on the wrong one. There we go. Set this to screen. I've done a tutorial about that. It's like this Orton effect. You can look that up on my channel. We only want to have it on the bright side, like this. And I don't know what else could we do. This frame here. Put this on there. And then soft light. Let's say this is your style, okay? So you can save this as a template with all of your settings in there, with all of the layers prepared. And then when you take your next picture and you want to have it in a similar style or the same style, you just take the next picture and you place it in here. Like you can either drag it from your folder onto the canvas, or you can go File and Place, Sorry. And oh, private pictures. Sorry for that. Okay. And then you go and put this on the lowest position, like here, and you can see, so now this is in the background and the same effects are applied to that. Of course, you have to adjust it a little bit because it's a different picture, stuff like that. But the layers are already there. You don't have to think about, oh, how did I do this and how did I apply that and what kind of color did I use for this soft light effect, stuff like that, because everything is set up for you. And then you just go in there and you edit it a little bit. You push a little bit around with the curves, so you set it up in the way where, say, I don't know, maybe like this, and then this kind of effect is a little bit strong, so let's reduce this a little bit, like that, and then you're ready to go in seconds, you know? So you can set up in this kind of way, where you have different kind of styles, different kind of ways where you do things that you simply have as templates. So that is very useful. And by the way, you can also use this in combination with the assets, because the interesting thing here is, let's create a new category here, assets. You can rename them, of course. Let's take this picture here. I think I can, yeah, you see you can pull this in here, and now I have the dog picture in here. Of course, the dog picture doesn't make sense, but let's look for something that does make sense. So we want to have a lens flare. And I know this is not how you would do a picture. It's just like, did I write it wrong? Is it one word? Lens flare. Pixabay not working today? Okay, that doesn't work. Let's go to the website real quick. Boom, there we go. Pixabay. Is it down? No, it's not down. Okay, lens flare. Oh yeah, let's use this for example. I'm just using this. I'm not downloading anything right now because I'm just showing you like ideas. So you have this. Let's put this on screen, for example. Lighten, hard light, a bit too extreme. Let's put it on soft light. So the thing here is you can have like different effects, different grunge maps, all these kind of things that you would like to have in your picture. For example, here we have now these kind of light effects here that could possibly make your pictures more interesting. Let's also look for a grunge map. Grunge map. No, let's just write grunge. Okay. Maybe grunge texture. There we go. Okay, so let's use this one. No, let's use the other one. Copy. Put this on here. Let's try the different blend effects. That's a bit too extreme. Maybe like this, I don't know. So, you know, like what I try to say is you can play around with these things. You can have a lot of fun with them. This, for example, could be interesting. You can also put a mask on that to reduce it in some areas. For example, let's put a mask on this real quick, and then we brush it out so it's just on the corners of the picture. Like this. So now it's just on the corners, as you can see here. It's not perfect. I'm just showing you. It's not like a tutorial because we are talking about just the purpose of the template, not like this specific picture, this specific thing that I'm doing. But now if you save this as a template and you have, for example, like 10 different grunge maps in here and 10 different lens flares and 10 different of these ambient light situations here, then next time you can just boom, 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 you play around a little bit and your picture is ready and done, and it has the same style. You don't have to think every time, how did I do this? What do I want to do? What was the right color? What is this kind of flavor I put in last time? You have it as a template and you can go like this. And this is very nice for your private pictures. Also, if you do it professionally, of course, you save a lot of time. And also you have consistency in the quality, in the output, in the kind of vibe that your work has. So this can be very beneficial to create your own kind of style, your own kind of brand of how you do things, you know. So that can be very, very positive. And like I said, it doesn't cost you anything. It's really good. Like there's a guy, I don't, what is his name? Terry something. The website is Stuck in Customs. He was pretty big some years ago. I'm not sure if he's still so big, but Stuck in Customs. He did that. Terry Radcliffe. He did that style a lot. He even sold like filters and stuff like that. Does he still do that? You can see here, for example, this picture here. So he does a lot of these. Whoa, okay. He does a lot of these kind of effects on his pictures. He really likes that kind of, you can see here, heavily edited pictures. Let's go to the next one. Can we go to the next one? There's also some kind of stuff in here edited. So he likes these kind of things. A lot of people really enjoy this kind of thing that he's doing. So his newer pictures don't have these grunge maps that much. But here you can see a lot of like there's the Orton effect on there. There's a lot of changing of the colors. And like I think from his perspective, the thing is that he wants to tell a story with the picture. He wants to put in there an emotion. This looks a little bit dreamy. It looks a little bit adventurous. It looks like Indiana Jones-ish. Like, you know, it's like there is something there where you think, wow, this is, I mean, it's just a train station or whatever this is, but it looks like something cool is happening there. You want to be right there at that moment because it's like there's some adventure in there, you know? So this kind of photos are not only documentation. You can tell stories, you can create stories, you can do whatever you want with them. They are devices for your own expression. And with the templates, of course, you can create these kind of, how can I say, like your own language, basically, you know, like, and by the way, this is an important thing. This is how artists work. And I think this also maybe is the difference between like the hobbyist and the professional, is that the professionals often have huge libraries of like documenting and creating their own style over the years. And they note down all the kind of things that come into their mind, and they collect all these kind of pictures they could use and effects they could use and all these kind of things in a way that evolves their artistic language over time. And they always try to go a little step further and to question themselves and to like reinvent the things a little bit or push it a little bit further. And these kind of things help you with that, because it's like it's kind of like a memory where you can look back on them. And you can also not just look back on the pictures, but you can more importantly look back on the different styles and effects you use, the techniques you use, stuff like that. For example, for me, it's really good for the channel that I can look back at my old videos, because often I was like, how did I do that? And then I go to the video and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how it worked. And then of course I can improve on that next time. So, you know, it's like an additional memory you have, and templates are a really good kind of thing for that, you know. And you can see here, like in seconds, we created something interesting. And for like, this is the starting picture, and we ended up here just playing around. And next time you can do even more with that, you know? So yeah, I'm like really talkative today. All right. 1 like to go for 30, please. I don't know what that means. Sorry, you have to rephrase that. I'm not sure. Okay, sorry, I was like, I think this was a little bit too intense right now, so please use the chat again. I can be like one guy on the VidCon. I was talking with him, and he was pretty extreme from the kind he was speaking, and very intense, but he looked at me and has said, you're a pretty intense guy, because I like to be like information all the time, talk about these kind of things. This is my kind of thing. Okay, anyways, is there anything else about templates? Ask some question about templates, maybe. That's good. We have talked about the social formats. We have talked about the different styles that you can save with templates. What else? I don't know. Ah, 30 likes on YouTube stream. Yeah, that would be cool. I thought about maybe asking for that. I see other people say, hey, if this video gets 5,000 likes, I will do this and that. And I thought maybe that's a good idea, but at the same time, it's always a bit pushy. I don't know. And then if you get like, you say, 5,000 likes, and then you get like 10 likes and you're like, oh, it doesn't work. It's like, I don't know. It feels really strange. So I don't know. Press the button. Okay. When making a selection, the line often follows the pixelated edge. I smooth that, then click apply, and it goes back to the pixelated edge again. Do you ever? Not really. Are you sure you're clicking on apply and not on cancel maybe? I mean, when you do a selection, let's do a selection here real quick. Let's do freehand tool, and you see, like, if I do it like that, you can see it has a very edgy outside, like that. And if you want to have that softer, there's a function when you go here to select and then to smooth. This will smooth the outside. You can see like it's turning and then suddenly it's a circle and then it's gone. So it's too much smoothing, of course, but you can make it smoother like that. And then when you click apply, I mean, it's jumping a little bit, of course, to the edges of the pixel because this is the resolution that your picture has. So when we look inside here, you can see, sorry, this goes by the individual pixels. So if you mean that, it has to like apply to that, because it's based on pixels, not a mathematical curve like you would have with a shape. But other than that, this is a lot smoother now. And of course, you can also feather your selection. Feather means it's like a gradient where it's going softer in the side. It's blending from 100% to 0%, but not instantly. Like here's 100, there's 0. It's going over time softly. That is what you do with feather. So you've also find this select, and here you have feather. You see, and this makes it like the selection goes softer. So this is not like softer, but it blends softer into the surroundings. So that's the difference here. And then you have also shrink and grow, where it makes it smaller, as you can see, or it makes it bigger than the original selection. And this can be very helpful, by the way. For example, let's say you select a hand. Should we find maybe a picture of a hand or something? Or maybe let's do a selection here. So I do a selection here around the tongue real quick. It's just freehand, it's not 100% perfect. So now, when you have the selection, it might be that some of these pixels are still showing through. So what I do, and I think a lot of professionals do that, is you go to shrink. So you shrink it a little bit, so it's in the inside of the tongue. You can see here. So this there, it went wrong. Of course, don't look at that. Look at this kind of situation here. It goes a little bit inside. You apply that, and then you go to select and feather. And feather makes it smoother, but it also grows a little bit. So you set it about the same amount that you set the shrinking before, and click apply. And then it goes almost to the edges, but with a soft fade, so you don't have any kind of these outside pixels in your selection. And also the edge looks a lot softer. It doesn't look like so harsh from the selection, because of course a fading, if you have a fade, for example, you can see here the colors are fading, so they're not going from white to brown. There's some stuff like there's different brown values in between here. And this is like when you have fading, this is what makes it look softer compared to a hard edge where it goes directly from one color to the next color. Okay, let's go back to our chat real quick. I will let my cat out real quick, and then I'm back. Come, Lucy. Yeah. Come. So, okay, and I'm back. Whoop, there we go. Where are we? Thank you. Lumina 4 for Mac. Free macro kit. Okay, I have to check that out, the free macro kit also, to see what this does. This could also be an interesting video. Let's write that down. Affinity macro kit. Okay. How do I get them to open and look like the JPEG? They are not supposed to look like the JPEG, because on the JPEG the image is more processed, and on the RAW you have more, like the name says, the raw information. Like the raw information is what the impression that the camera chip gets is saved without compression or any other special editing. I think some of the editing is applied from the camera, some of the settings, but not all of them. And so, of course, they look different, because the purpose of the raw file is that you can heavily edit it afterwards. So to make it look differently in any kind of style you want. And it's actually better for a raw file to be more neutral, not that extreme, than you would have in a JPEG, because then you have a wider range of ways you can adjust the picture, you know. So for example, in some situation it is suggested, when you take a raw picture, that you actually underexpose it a little bit, so you don't have too bright white values. So because if there is just white in there, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you underexpose it a little bit, there is still information in there, and then you can bring it back, you know, so you can get the information back, and you brighten it up a little bit, and then you can do a lot more with that. So you handle a raw picture actually differently than you would a JPEG picture. From the way you shoot. I don't do too much in RAW, so I really have to brush up on this information a bit more. So I'm not the expert on RAW photography, but yeah, I know some information. Let's say it like that. By the way, just to point this out, and I always say this in every video on the start, I'm a designer, and that's a big difference. I edit things. I'm not a photographer, so I don't have a photo studio. If you don't think I'm a super expert with photography and know everything about light and gear and all this kind of stuff, I do photo editing and I do design, and I'm on the affinity part of things, on that kind of end. I want to do more photography, but in that area there are people who know a lot more about that. And also I have an art background. So for me the combination is to understand how to edit the picture and what the artistic part about that is, or how art works, you know. So I studied art. This kind of thing is my way. And there's also the photography way, which is a different direction, more technical. But from my perspective, I see it in that way. Like, for example, I see like media creation as a teamwork today, where you don't have to know everything out there that is out there. For example, like if you have a photographer, he isn't the guy who knows about fashion. He isn't the guy who does all the makeup and stuff and the haircut and things. He has other guys for that, you know. So or women or whatever they identify as you know. So that's okay, you know. If you need someone who does something better for you, you find people who do something better for you. Like, for example, filmmakers. I mean, the director who makes a movie, he's the director, he's the boss of everything, but he does not control the camera. He does not control the light or the sound. He does not act. He doesn't do anything. Sometimes they act. He has other people for that. And that's okay, because you can focus on what is really interesting for you. And for the director, it is expressing your artistic vision, and the others are facilitating that. So yeah, just to point that out there. I'm sorry. Yeah. But I want to brush up on that a lot more, by the way. Okay. I know how to create action on Photoshop. Does Affinity Photo has the power to generate action to be used later? The actions are called macros in Affinity Photo, and it has the function to record macros, but it's very limited. It's not like you would think it records everything you do on the screen. There is often a point where you think this should be able to record, but it doesn't. So for me, for example, I thought I'd do macro packs maybe for Affinity Photo, but then I tried things out and then it said, I can't record this, I can't record that, record stop because of this. And I was like, okay, this doesn't work because I can't create a product that I know will work for you when you use it. So it's kind of limited, it's kind of special. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't work, but you can record certain things, so that's pretty good. Okay. Message retracted. Okay. Are these questions I have already answered? What are these message retracted? I hope this isn't done by the bot. Hey from Liverpool. How are you doing? Print proofing. A macro for print proofing. Different color casts and exposure. You should really do like prepare the print every time by hand, because it's like specific on what you want to do. So yeah. And if it's important, by the way, if it's really important, like you say, I spend a lot of money on a photo book I want to print or something, I would give it to a guy. There are like services who prepare files and things for print. It's a service. Like designers often do that and agencies do that and stuff like that. They prepare things for the print so everything works out. Give it to such a guy. Of course, it costs a bit of money, but then you know you get good pictures when you spend a lot. For example, you want to make an exhibition, you print the pictures really big. It costs thousands of euros. I would get an expert who is color grading them for you, especially so it looks exactly like that for your exhibition or your photo book or stuff like that. Yeah. And of course, I don't think you can use a macro. You can use devices to adjust your screen, but I talked about that before. That's a bit like a two-sided sword, especially with consumer screens who are like pretty low quality compared to professional screens. By the way, I'm not using a professional screen. I'm using just a normal screen because in most cases it's okay. In an NIK Collection workspace, what application would you use for digital asset management? I'm trying to move away from Lightroom and I'm looking. Actually, if you buy the NIK Collection, it does come with something called PhotoLab, and inside of PhotoLab you can organize your pictures and tag them and stuff like that. I should have prepared that. I can't open it right now because then there's all my private photos in there. But you can organize pictures in there, so that's good. And there's also other free software out there to organize pictures. If you mean other assets that you put inside your pictures, Affinity Photo does that have like included. You have like you can organize your assets in here. So that's on one side you have the assets, on the other side you have the templates, like we said before. Sorry. So you have a little bit of that possibility. And other than that, I'm a big fan of just organizing it through like the Windows folders. You put your stuff in the right folders where you need them. Of course, like, I mean, how can I say? Even if you have a lot of data, I think you can go really quickly through them if you organize them in different folders. Like, if, for example, you have a folder that says grunge maps, and then you say, okay, these are fabric, and these are walls, and these are sand, and these are scratched metal or stuff like that. So you have different folders and you can go through them. There's like, you can make the preview pretty big in your Windows folder or Mac folder. So that works pretty well, actually. But other than that, there's like photo, like album software. AC/DC, I'm not sure if AC/DC is still used a lot, but that was pretty big years ago. And I don't know, actually. And like I said, PhotoLab, you can organize it in PhotoLab, which comes with NIK software, so that's pretty good. We can have a look at that, actually, real quick. I wanted to talk about NIK software anyway, so we can now, let's switch over to the NIK software chapter of this live stream. Hope people are interested. Other products, PhotoLab. There we go. So there is like, it's called PhotoLab Essential. That's included in the NIK collection. Is there a screenshot here? And it does pretty good raw editing. There's a lot of features in there, better than in Affinity Photo actually. So the raw editor in Affinity Photo is there, but it's not the best one. I've heard a lot of people complain about that. It should have more functions, and PhotoLab has a lot more functions, so give that a try. Because the one in Affinity Photo, it's good that they have that, and I know that they will improve that over time, but it lacks a lot of functionality. It's very limited. By the way, here you can see like from a very dark shot to an almost daylight shot. That is pretty impressive. You can do some really cool stuff with that. There is no picture of the file overview. I'm sorry about that. It does have this function. I'm not sure why they don't. Let's see. Images. Is there anything here? There we go. No, these are just folders. But you can do things in here. I think you can tag them, you can rate them, stuff like that. So that's in there. Some ability to sort the photos. Okay, let's go back. By the way, I completely forgot. I asked people to ask questions on Facebook, and then I didn't answer them. Okay, let's do this right now. Let's see if some other people wanted to join here. Yes, one more person. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the questions that people had before the stream. I should have done this the other way around. First, answer these questions. So I hope the people are still there. Wait, this is 141. I want to write that down so I can link that so people will know where to find these kind of answers. 131, 42. Okay, good. So let's start with that. So Sabine asks, sometimes I have problems with photo like this one. It needs more color contrast. Did you have any idea? And these pictures look like that. So it was very foggy, apparently. And also one thing, I mean, with a dog, maybe it's a bit complicated, but the dog is standing against the sunshine, so of course the dog is in the shadow, and that's if it's the other way around and the sun comes from the front, of course you have a better picture, especially against a light background. So there's another picture. It's also a little bit foggy in here. Okay. Let's start with this picture first and then also go for the other one. I will copy this over real quick. By the way, you can do this just so you know. If you have a picture, right click, copy image, and then it's like in your like temporary memory of your computer, and then you go to Affinity Photo and you go to File, New from Clipboard. That's the name, the clipboard. It's in the clipboard. So you go from New from Clipboard, and there you have the picture opened in Affinity Photo. So you don't have to save it and then open it and all these kind of things. It's in there just like that. Of course, you have to remember this is the resolution that you have, that you see right now. So for example, if I take this picture and copy it and then open it here, it has a different resolution. You can see super pixelated because it's very small resolution. So keep that in mind. Sometimes you should download it because it has a higher resolution. Okay, let's go in here. So two things you can do. First of all, if it's a bit foggy, you can go to filters and then you can go to haze removal, and you can see this is already improving the file, and you can play around here. There's an exposure correction that you can use. There's the strength of the effect, and interestingly enough, there's also the distance of the fog, and you can see that it has some effect. So if I put this to 0, the fog comes until before the dog, and I can move this backwards. But if I move it too far, then it also goes very strongly in the background. So you can see that this, you can adjust a lot with this. And then of course afterwards you can also like apply the effect, and then still go into levels, or you can go into curves and adjust things further like you want to have them. For example, make the dark areas a little bit brighter and bring down the dark value, stuff like that. So this is one way to do that. Let's go back. There's the original picture. Another way that you can try is that you duplicate the layer like that, and then you set it to soft light like this, and you can see this removes a lot of the fog. If you look at the stone, it's very nice, it's very crisp. It's kind of an effect where you can make pictures pop. You can see the dog is a little bit too dark. Like again, you can go in here with the curves and adjust that, or with your other adjustment layers for the shadows and stuff like that. So you can, whoops, okay, that's not what we want to do. Let's bring this down here, push this up a little bit, so the dog has a little bit more light, stuff like that. So you can just go on editing as you would with your picture to do whatever you want to do with that. So you can see these are two different ways. I like this way of with the soft light trick with the blending, because it's very quick, and it's like it's based on the detail, on the information that's already in the picture, from the contrast, also from the color values, and it's editing it exactly at the pixel where it needs to be edited. So that's why I like this kind of trick very much. Okay, let's have a look at the other picture. There was more fog in there. Let's see if we can also apply this here. Copy image, file from clipboard. Let's try first, duplicate, go to soft light, and it works fairly well down here in the grass, but not as good as with the last picture. So let's hide this real quick, go to the first one, filter and haze removal, and this works a lot better this time. So you can see it really depends on the situation that you're in. So in this case, this removes a lot of the fog, works better than the other version. Here you can see also that the effects better that these levers have when you play around with them. And here also you can see very nice, you can see here along the nose how this goes from the distance, from the tip of the nose back to the behind the head. You can see here the line. Not sure if this comes through on the live stream or not, but that's pretty interesting to play around with that. Again, in this picture is a little bit of the problem that the dog is standing against the sun, so we have the light from the front. But you can select the dog and brighten that up, stuff like that. You can play around with that. Or if you have the NIK collection, you can use the NIK collection. We can actually keep this picture open and look at the NIK collection in a second. Let's answer the other questions first. So I think this was like answering the question on how to remove the fog, and the rest of the editing is like normal, like you would do with your other pictures. I hope that helps. From Ian, there's a question. Tell me how to decide when I have done too much editing or not enough editing to each photo. Maybe not for this new video, however, perhaps explain how different. I don't think about electronic screen calibration. What? Maybe not for this video. Perhaps explain how different and varying room light can affect how we see the image on the screen. I'm not thinking about electronic screen calibration, something I have never done because it's only worth in the room has consistent light. The blokes. So I think this is about, when I understand this correctly, like how not to overdo the editing of a picture. Like I think if you go to, for example, 500 pics, there's a lot of things that are like candy shop stuff. This is really hardcore. Like if you upload a picture here, okay, there's not much to see here. How do you see? Oh, there we go. If you would upload your normal picture here, oh my God, some naked women here. Okay, that's not good. Your pictures would look black and white because these are so super like edited to pop with the color, to like look like grab your attention, because they have to compete against the other pictures, that they need that. But probably you don't need that for yourself. For example, this one here is like super candy time. There's so much color in there and contrast and everything. It looks good. I'm not saying it looks bad, but the reason why this is done is because it has to compete with these other pictures for attention. So maybe you don't need this for your private pictures, and it would look a little bit much like coming with a tuxedo to, I don't know, a walk in the park or something like that. So I would say base your editing on the purpose you want to have the photo or create the photo for. So if you say, I want to get a lot of likes on 500 pics, you probably need to have this kind of more extreme editing. But then if you go to another side, so for example, if we compare this to Instagram, let's go to Instagram real quick. There's a lot of also very edited pictures. Oh my God, another, like, what's going on? Everybody's like posting naked women left and right. Okay, so you can see here's a lot of like everyday kind of stuff. This is probably not the most interesting. Is there like a discover page? There's a discover page. Okay. I mean, you can see there's a lot of candy shop here also, but at the other end of the thing, like you have a lot of pictures that are just everyday pictures, or just what the people do in their everyday life. So they tell different kind of stories with that. And so often you don't compete with other people as much as you tell stories to your friends or the people who already like your stuff. So they want to see different things also for your Facebook timeline, stuff like that. There's a lot of drawing stuff in here. That's interesting. Okay, maybe that's also a bad example, because I mean, this is like less edited. So it's really like the purpose is, what is your photography like? Who do you want to show it to? And who do you compete against? And also, most importantly, maybe is also, who are your like heroes when you edit things? What kind of pictures do you like most? And what do you like to be similar to the most, you know, from a photographic style, from the expression you want to have in there. And what I find is a good example to do for yourself is that you collect pictures. For example, if you go on Pinterest, that's a good way to do that. Let's do this real quick. You go to Pinterest, and then you can make 2 folders on Pinterest, 2 collections. And in one collection, you sort everything where you say, I like that a lot. And in the other one, you select, I don't like that at all. You know, and the reason why you do the second one is because over time you will see, like, often you think that maybe you like some stuff, maybe you don't, you're a little bit unsure because you're like, the taste and your selection isn't that pronounced. But if you sort that in different categories, you can see over time, you get a red line of thing. There's a kind of consistency to your taste of things you like and things you dislike, even if you're not sure about it yourself. But over time, if you build up that collection, you will see, okay, this is a style I don't like, I don't enjoy, and I like this style. And you can then see, what kind of things do these people do? What kind of colors do they use? What kind of software do they use? Which, by the way, is very important because different software gives you different results. For example, Lightroom or NIK Collection has a very specific way of how light looks and how colors look, which is different from other software. So there is this like taste of light. Specifically, Lightroom has this kind of specific taste to its pictures on how they look when they are edited. That's kind of this Lightroom thing, you know. And if you like that, if you enjoy that, then this is your thing. But if you like, and you look it up and you say, hey, okay, what do these guys, the people who do the photos that I like, what kind of software do they use? What kind of gear do they use? I'm not saying buy the same gear. What I'm saying is see what they are using, why they are using it, how they are using it, and then you can figure out for yourself. You can test around with that. And through all these kind of things, you find your own, it's easier for yourself to find these your own voice. And another thing that's also good is when you collect pictures. Let's go back to this, for example. Let's say you like this style. Okay. Okay, maybe that's a bad example because it's pretty hard. Let's say you like this style. Okay, so you take a similar picture. Maybe you don't have a beach, but maybe a rainy day with a street in the sunlight also has reflection on the ground. So you can do that. Take a picture like that, try to edit it the same way, compare the two pictures back and forth, see if they have the same colors, if they have the same look, if they have the same composition. So you try to recreate the picture. And by recreating this, it is not that you want to try to copy the other artists. It is by recreating the work of the artist, you learn a lot about the process and you see a lot of the finer things in their works and what they're doing and the things they look for and how they create like different nuances and all these kind of things in their picture by recreating that from other artists. And from that, over time, you see like in the past you've overdone these and that things, or you didn't know that these things are there, these kind of things, you know. So yeah, that's this is how you learn where is the point where you say, this is enough for my editing, or I want to go a step further. And the good thing is, the more you know about the thing or anything, the more you want to know about a thing. So it's never enough. You have never a point where you say, okay, there is nothing else I want to know about this topic. There's nothing else I can do about this topic. There's always something where you say, hey, this. And I'm now really good at that, but I can push it a little bit further, or there's something else I can do. You know, there's another device, there's another software, there's another thing where this, but a little bit better, a little bit different, stuff like that. For example, like I talked before with this format that the camera has, you know, like this ultra wide format. Of course, you can crop it with your photo software, but how often do you go in here and then what is this? And then you make a picture like that, because normally you would say it's wasting like screen space, because then you have like empty space above and below. But when you have the device in your hand and you take the picture and you're not cropping it afterward, but you're doing it in the process, there is a different kind of pronunciation and language and expression in there. We say, hey, I can use this in a lot of different ways. It's a very different kind of composition, and you can do it in the moment. So these kind of things, it's always something pushing you, you know. So yeah, this is what I would suggest to answer this question is, make 2 folders where you select things you like, where you select things you don't like, then look at the things you like and try to recreate some of them to see what these artists do and see what kind of software they use. You can also try to write them, to ask them what kind of tools they use. And over time, you will find out more about what kind of way you want to go with your art, with your style. You can also focus on a certain thing. You can say, if you, for example, you live on a beach, you say, half a year I will just take these kind of pictures and see how far I can go with that, and then I do something else. This could be a really good lecture to learn something. Okay, let's go to the next one. I was looking for an image, couldn't find it. I think it's difficult to live stream. I was wondering how make the image. So that's the image. And how is that done with these light effects? So when you look at the hand, for example, here, or the face, you can see that the light is not following the surface of her skin. So, and also this light here is like on the wall, but also on her face and stuff like that. So I would say I don't think that she's holding, either she's holding something that is doing these colors, like a LED stick. You have these kind of LED stick where you swing them around and they change the color while you swing them. So maybe this is done that way, because this has these kind of round spirally things, and it's a kind of long time exposure. And at the same time, she was swinging these things, or maybe the photographer was swinging these things in front of her. Or it was just like imposed onto the picture as an effect afterwards. So we had these kind of light effects separately. Sorry, my cat is scratching me. And so like we have seen before, let's make a new file here real quick. Yeah, okay, that's good. So let's go here, portrait. Oh, we can... let's go here, portrait real quick. Lolo, lass es bitte. What is this? Portrait. Okay, there we go. Is there maybe a darker portrait? There is a darker portrait. Let's maybe, should we use that one just for the sake? Yeah, let's use that one. Okay, good. So it's again very big. 1 second, let's make this a little bit smaller. Maybe crop this a little bit differently. Well, let's make it square. Okay, good. So let's go to Pixabay so we have a better overview of what we get. Pixabay, let's say colorful effect. There we go. Lolo, bitte. Do we find something here? Yeah, let's take this one. Let's see how good this is. Should we download? No, let's just copy it. We don't need, I just copied because we don't need the quality for this one. It's just to show you. So you can just now go layer, and then because it's light, you go to the light section. I explained this last time in my last video about the blend modes. So this is the easy way. If you want to blend something that's dark, you go to the dark modes. You can see now it's blending the dark elements. And if you had something light, you use the light modes, which is those. So you can see here, for example, with lighten, and now we have this kind of effect on her face. I'm not saying this is super duper now, but this is kind of how you would apply that effect. So you make a dark picture with such a light effect in there, and then you just blend it onto the portrait is a way, or you do it live with these kind of LED sticks. Let's look this up, LED. I'm not sure what they are called. I can see here are, for example, this guy here. You can see they have these kind of, also these sticks on strings sometimes, and then you swing it around and you get these kind of cool light effects. Let's stay here. And then, I mean, you can photograph this. It looks pretty similar to what we have seen before in this other picture. If I find it again, there we go. And then, so you can take this separately and the portrait separately, and then you just blend them together. I think that's the easiest way. Also, you can see that she is, first of all, not holding anything in her hand other than her own hair, and that the picture is very sharp and lit evenly. So I don't think she was doing the light thing in front of her face. Otherwise, you would see other light effects on her face than you can see here. All right. Good. So to answer another question that was asked in my comments about the NIK collection, because we were always also talking about the NIK collection. By the way, really quickly refresh here to see if other people want to join. And I also should share that in my live chat. No new members. Where's my live chat? There we go. Boom. That's my super fan community on Facebook. Everybody can join. Come in. It's completely free. We have a lot of exclusive content. I do some exclusive live streams in there sometimes. I do polls where I ask people about their opinion I share different stuff like this, for example. Today I tested my new gimbal with my smartphone, what it can do for video, stuff like that. So it's really interesting. Okay, let's go through the chat real quick. What was the last one I've read? Power to generate actions. I have answered that. Liverpool. Cast. I've answered that. What application would you use for digital as? I have answered that also. Could you continue the story after saving the template? How to reuse it for another photo? Well, like I said, you create the template and then you save it, and the next time you have a picture, you just drag it to the lowest layer, so all of the effects that you have prepared are above it, so they can influence the picture, and then you just adjust all of the other settings that you have prepared for that, the layer stuff like that. So we can put in, let's put a portrait in here, for example. So when I drag this in here, of course she's on top of the layers. But I can simply drag the layer down. You can see I simply drag the layer down over the last stock layer. And so now these effects that we have seen before, they are applied to the portrait in the very same way. But I can of course still change them around and adapt them in any way I want. Lolo, bitte. Hör mal auf jetzt. Sorry, my cat is... Yeah, so this is like the idea of like collecting these kind of ideas. You do little sketches, save them as templates. If you don't need them anymore, you can of course also delete them. So there's no problem with that. But you can see like you can have a certain consistency in the style and the look and the effects and the grunge map and all these kind of things you want to apply to your pictures with the template. So that's a pretty good use of that. Okay, what else do we have in here? Light paintings, yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty cool style. Lolo, bitte, yeah, it's very... Oh, he wants out. Okay, let's let him out. I'm back in a second. 1 second. Lolo, come. Yeah. I will leave the door open so the cats can go in and out whenever they want. There we go. Whew. All right. Hey, Facebook account. You can make the Facebook account private and then just join for the group. That's completely okay. Yes, let's go to the NIK Collection now. Let's do that. So let's make a new file. Let's keep it like that. That's good. Okay. So oh, we wanted to use it for the dog. I forgot about that. Let's cancel this. So we have here the dock. And what I wanted to show you, I will make, when you go merge visible, it compresses all the layers together into a new layer on top of it. You can see here, so now this looks exactly the same, but it's just a pixel layer. So that's pretty nice. And now this state with all of the stuff we have applied before is a pixel layer. We can use it with the NIK Collection. And I want to show you something really cool. So first of all, people have asked me, why do you need NIK Collection? Why couldn't you do the same thing with Affinity Photo? Because Affinity Photo can do a lot of things. But of course, the idea of a plugin is always to give you more possibilities and different styles and different artistic expressions and possibilities that the original software cannot do in that way. So also NIK Collection has a lot of that in there. So you go to Filters, Plugins, NIK Collections, and you can see here these different things. So if you look at them, it's NIK Collection is, like the name says, a collection of different plugins, and they are all specialized for a specific purpose. So the first one is called Analog Effects, and the idea of Analog Effects is to simulate old cameras and the style that they have photographed, and you can do some interesting, funny things with these. Color Effects is to adjust all the different kind of color effects, like the name says. So this is very good from the name. Define is there to remove the noise from a picture. If you have a high ISO setting, you get a very noisy picture. And Define is a specific tool to reduce that noise so it looks a lot softer. than before, but still is as sharp as possible. You have a HDR plugin, especially for HDR pictures. And then you have two different kinds of sharpeners. So there's a raw pre-sharpener and there's an output sharpener. And the output sharpener can be very interesting because it is sharpening the picture specifically for different uses. So when you say, I need this picture for print, or I need this picture for my website, or I need this picture for my phone or stuff like that, you can sharpen it especially for this kind of purpose, for this kind of use, so it looks really crisp there, and then you sharpen it for another use in a separate picture. So that can be very, very useful. Oh God, my cats are so crazy today. How long have we streamed? Not so much. Silver Effects Pro is black and white. So specifically a plugin to create interesting, cool black and white effects. And Viveza, and we will use this now a little bit. Viveza is especially to adjust the light situations in your picture and also a little bit of the colors and the contrast and stuff like that. So here we have a picture where we have a difficult light situation. So for this, Viveza is a good idea. So let's open this up. There we go. And before I go on, I will feed my cat. I'm back in 1 second. Don't go away. I will be back in 1 second. Otherwise, my cat will scratch me. Come Lolo. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, my cats are really a handful today. Whew. All right, good. So one cool thing. So you set these control points here. So that's the major thing of Viveza is that you set these control points, and then these control points affect a certain area. So you click here and then you can set the point. And the point affects a certain area, but it is content aware, depending on where you set that. And one user in the comments has written there's a really cool function in there. I think it's the control key. Yes, if you hold the control key and you move the point around, it gives you a preview of what it is affecting. And you can see here when I go it onto the leash, it's mostly affecting the leash and a little bit surrounding. And if I go here to the background, it's mostly affecting the background. And here mostly the grass and a little bit of the dog, also the dog, of course. And of course you can reduce the radius here. So now you can see this is affecting a very small area. Let's make it a little bit bigger. So this is a bigger area. So you can say just this stone over here I want to effect, or just the head of the dog or stuff like that. So that's pretty useful, as you can imagine. So let's go here and we select the dog, and then you can say we brighten, and you can see that this will affect mostly the dog. So the dog gets a little bit brighter. Let's bring a little bit more contrast in there. A lot of contrast. Structure. Whoops, that's too much. Brighten up a little bit. I can move this also around still. So you can see that this has a pretty big effect. So you can see this is before, this is after. And you can see that the rest of the picture is pretty much the same. So not so much has changed. A little bit of the grass has changed, of course, and stuff like that. But mainly the dog has changed. So that's pretty good. And of course, you can still go in here and you can make a second point and say, okay, but now I effect here mostly the clouds in the background, and maybe make them a little bit darker again. So, whoops, where's the line? You can see now the clouds in the background are pretty much the same as before. but the dock has changed. Not super editing right now. I'm just showing you the functions, so don't nail me on, hey, this is not perfect. But you can see this has super duper functions here that you can use. You can spend a lot of time playing around with this kind of features. You can make it warmer. So you can see here for every individual control point, you have brightness, you have contrast, you have saturation, structure, shadow adjustment, which we can try here. Whoa, too much. Little bit. Warmth, then RGB, and the hue also for every single point of those. So that's pretty cool. So you can imagine you can do a lot of things. You can adjust a lot of stuff. For example, you can say here, let's go for the grass. This affects mostly the grass, and we want to have some more saturation here. And maybe also make it a little bit warmer. And this is affecting mostly the grass, a little bit of the stone maybe. And you can also like copy these points, and you can group them, you can ungroup them, so you can edit these together. So you edit, you see here these adjustments, they are the same adjustments. You don't have to use these, you can also use these over here. If that's easier. And for a group, you can adjust multiple of these points together. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, but this is just like the light adjustment. You can say, well, I can still paint masks and stuff like that in Affinity Photo. So let's close this real quick. Let's take another picture now. Go away from the dog. Bye bye doggy for now. Should we take a portrait? Let's take a portrait. What's a good one? Let's take this one. There we go. Let's make this square maybe. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so if we go over to, wait, is this now image or pixel? It's image, so let's rasterize this real quick. So it's a pixel layer. Again, go in here, and this time we go to analog effects, for example. And here you see more of the like artistic potential that it has. So you have always these kind of recipes that are ready made. So you can see here with these kind of prepared styles that you can select from. Lots of different, well, actually not that lot, but you can see that this is applying a pre-made kind of style. Wow, this takes a lot of time. Oh, wait, let's cancel this real quick. Document, resize. Oh, it's not that big. Oh, I know what's going on. Let's resize and trim so the file is really small. And then let's go back in here to analog effects. Now it's quicker. That's good. Okay, loading textures. All right. So you can see here, when you go to classic cameras, you can select different cameras. You can see from the icons. And by the way, this is what I mean by readability. If you compare this to the new file menu, you know, like we have seen before, the new file menu, everything looks the same. Here you have an icon for every different style where you can go and say, oh yeah, multiple lenses. That's that, because it has multiple lenses. And this is kind of a Hasselblad. And this is kind of like these old compact analog cameras. And this is like a wet plate camera. So you see it from the icon. So that's pretty quick. So that's very nice. So you can go on these cameras and then, for example, multiple lenses. You can see also here you have different styles in here. And this, for example, will take from one picture different kind of angles in here. And this is kind of prepared for you. So, of course, yes, you can also do that in Affinity Photo. But you have different kind of styles in here that you can select from that give you different kind of artistic ideas. You can see here, for example, there are already these kind of scratches and grunge maps applied to that, but you can still change them. You can go in here and say, I want a different grunge map. Any kind of thing you want. There's scratches and organic grunge maps and stuff like that. You can see, so it has a little bit of effect. I'm not sure if you can see that at the moment. You can, like, let's make it stronger. So the strength is either it goes dark or it goes bright if you go negative from the strength. So these kind of things. So this is a lot of the strength in the NIK collection, is that you have these kind of things that you can do. But also if you look here, you have these prepared styles, but you also have these other things where you can do your own thing. So you don't have to go with these tool combinations, as it is called. You can go here and say, for example, I want to have a light leak. So now you have the picture and you can select different kind of light leak styles here on the left side, and you can move them around wherever you want to have them in different ways. Let's take a pink one, for example. You can adjust the strength, stuff like that. And these are kind of prepared for you. So that is kind of the benefit, that you have a very quick way of prototyping, basically, of putting out ideas there to create these kind of things. And this is also what I said before, when you like create collections of things, of grunge maps, of these light effects, of glitches, of stuff like that you can apply to other pictures in a very quick manner, so that you can also do this kind of very quick prototyping with your own pictures, to test ideas, to see, does it work? Do I like that? Is it interesting for the picture or not? So you can see here, you get a lot of different interesting things you can do. We have film types also here that you can use. By the way, one thing I find a little bit strange is they also have the classic film, like simulations of actual analog films, but for some reason not in the analog effects, but in the color effects. Maybe they are in here, I haven't seen it, but this says film type, but it is not brand film types. It is just cool and warm, and then you have also black and white. As you can see here, different kind of film types that give you different results. So that's interesting. Yeah, you can really do a lot of things with these. You also have frames that you can put, like you can see here, an alt negative frame. So these kind of things. This is what you do with plugins. They give you these kind of abilities to do this really quickly, have different kind of styles to your picture. So that's a huge benefit. And I really like that about NIK Collection. I think they're doing a great job. And the things that they do in the way they do it, they look pretty realistic and have a very nice touch to them, a very nice style to them. So that's pretty cool. And of course, like if you see other professionals, you will see a lot of professionals are using the same tools. A lot of people use Lightroom, a lot of people use NIK Collection, stuff like that. So you see, of course, repeating like kind of flavors, kind of styles on how the colors look and stuff like that. And you know, oh, okay, this was done with this tool because it has this kind of expression in the picture. So you can see there's a lot of things here. We have bokeh, zoom and rotate, motion blur, double exposure, light leaks, dirt and scratches, photo plates, lens vignette, film types, multi-lens, frames, levels and curves. And of course you can stack them also, as you can see here with the plus sign. I can have this, but then I also add the light leaks on top of that. So now I have the frame around it, but I have also light leak with this pink color. Let's make this a little bit stronger. No, that's not good. So soft one, crisp one, dynamic ones. Can I, by the way, I'm not sure right now. Can I zoom them somehow? Because it says strength. I haven't tested out all the features. By the way, you can also make control points here, so that's pretty important to know. So you can apply this light leak, but just to a certain area of your picture, if you want to. So it's also a possibility. Let's find one that is more expressed. One second. This one. But this one is just in one area. One second, one moment. So here we have one. This is more expressed. I think you can see that rather well. And then you can say add control point. To have the strength, you can here reduce the strength of the texture, but you can also make it more visible. Which I'm not finding out at the moment how to do that, because usually, wait a second, if we turn this off and turn it on here, no. You should be able to turn the effect completely off and then only use it in the control point, but right now I'm not seeing it. Am I blind? Where is the opacity setting for? So these are the control points. What is this? No, this is just copy the control point. You can also see here weird effects, so that's also nice. This kind of dynamic map that we've seen before. Sorry, I can't find it right now, but you can turn it off in areas. You can say, for example, I don't want to have it on the left side, so I can reduce it here on the left side in this area, and then maybe add a second control point where I also reduce it in this area, and so the light leak only goes here, you know. All right, good. Let's go to another filter, because I also wanted to show you these kind of brand film effects. So this is in Analog Effects Pro. If we open this up, no, sorry, wrong one. This was the same one, I'm sorry. Let's go back to the color effects. The color effects is the one with the film brands for some reason. So you have here all of these filters, and there's a lot of different things. For example, here you can create a fog effect that you can apply. You have different kinds of fog in here, and you can adjust the intensity and stuff like that. Which of course in this portrait situation doesn't make too much sense. But you can see there's more than just adjusting the colors a little bit. Let's go to the film. There, we have film, and then you have these classic, like as we have seen before with vintage, this is just some settings, but the more important thing is these branded films. And they are really interesting because here you have simulations of actual brand films. You can see here the good old names of the brands like Agfa and Fuji Chrome and Kodak Chrome and all these kind of things. And from my remembering these films, when I look at the colors and how they look, this looks really nostalgic. This is kind of a feeling where you feel, yeah, like this was like it looked. So they did a really good job. I feel they did a really good job with those. So they look like they have this kind of feeling in there. And like it's, how can I say? It's just like nostalgic. If you have been from that time and you took photos like that with these old-timey cameras, they had this kind of course, imperfections from today's standard, because what we see as style, like for example, this is kind of bad exposure basically because the film wasn't able to do it in a better way. But it's also the style, the expression that comes from that through this kind of material. So sometimes if it's worse, it's actually better because of the reasons that it's worse for a reason, for your own emotions and memories and stuff like that. So I feel like you can do a really like a lot of cool things. Also the noise in here, and this is like I really like the noise that this is creating. I feel like this is actual analog noise from an analog film. It's not just like the noise that you get from digital software today that looks not as warm, not as organic, so to speak, basically, you know. So this is pretty cool. I would like to have this in the other one for the analog cameras, but it's in here. But you can still use it. It's pretty cool. And as you can see here, again, you can stack this. And by the way, here I can show you what I wanted to show you before. So let's take one that is very noisy, like this one, for example, here. And now here, control points, I can put the opacity to 0. And then I can set a control point. And I can say, I want the noise, but I just want it here in the face area. I know doesn't make too much sense, but I wanted to show you can apply an effect just to an area. And again, you have the same kind of thing where this is a smart layer that is actually reacting to the background. It's content aware. So that's really, really cool. You can say just in these kind of areas, you have now more noise in the shadows. This, by the way, could actually make sense where you say in the darker areas of the picture, I have more noise than in the lighter areas. So this can actually give you an interesting effect. And I mean, with these tools, if you use these tools, you can work out styles that is basically your own language, your own expression from that. Interestingly enough, we still have this point. By the way, if you create a point, you select it, you hit delete on your keyboard, so you can remove the point. And as you can see here, there's a lot of stuff in here. For example, we have glamour glow, which gives, as you can see, this kind of glamour glow makes the picture soft. This is also this kind of old-timey thing that you had in the past in movies, stuff like that. And you can make it warmer, you can make it cooler. And I think this also, like, this is what I like about, if you like this kind of analog feeling, this kind of organic warm feeling, I think that the NIK collection does that very well, that you have this kind of organic expression through the pictures. And I think, for example, Lightroom has a very different expression that is more, it has an how can I say, artificial perfection to it. The things look really good, but they don't. They look more than perfect. They look utopian. It's a bit too good to be real, you know. And here I feel like it's like, yes, it's not real, but at the same time, it's kind of this organic analog kind of feeling you get from the effects. So this is what I really like about the NIK effects. And I feel like this, I mean, it looks good. I like it. Maybe it's a thing of the time we come from. Okay, sorry, I have to look at the, let's look at the chat. I haven't looked at your questions in a long time, sorry. And I need to drink something. Oh, God. Yeah, so that's the thing, like the old version, of course, isn't supported in the same way as the new version. It isn't like made compatible and updated because it is the old version. So the new version is compatible with Affinity Photo and other software as a plugin, but also standalone. I have to say I enjoy standalone a little bit more. The reason for that is that when you use it in Affinity Photo, it's using the JPEG layer to edit it in the NIK collection. But when you open up a JPEG in Photolab, like through Photolab in the NIK collection, it is making a copy and turning the copy into a TIFF file. And a TIFF file, like a RAW file, is an uncompressed file with a higher bitrate. So the range, the possibilities you can do with the picture are stronger. You have a bigger range of colors. Of course, you can do that also in Affinity Photo. Let's click on cancel here. The only thing you have to do if you have a JPEG picture is you go here to document, and then you go to convert format. And you set this to RGB 16 or even to RGB 32. 16 should be enough. In most cases, 32 takes a lot of CPU power. And with 16, you have a bigger range of colors. To explain this real quick, wait, I want to show you a picture. 8-bit versus 16-bit color. So you have an idea what is happening there. So oh yeah, here you can see it. So an 8-bit image has 256 levels that you can have in one color, like you can see here. When it goes from bright to dark, there is 256 steps in there. And when you have 16 bits, you have 65,536 levels in there. So this kind of, and this what you see here is called banding. And banding is when you apply an effect. For example, you have a sunset background where is a very soft gradient going on from an orange to a slightly different orange. And also you have compression in the file and stuff like that. Then you can banding. It looks like a landscape map made of different layers of color that you can see with your eyes. Like you can not as extreme as here, but you can see them with your eyes. But then if you change to 8-bit, this is smoothed out because you have then suddenly 65,000 of these steps and you don't see the gradient anymore. Of course, if you then export it afterwards as a JPEG, it's going back to 8-bit, but this 8-bit is smoothed out through the compression. So there is a bit of banding in there, but it's way, way less than you would have if you edit it just as 8-bit. So you can do this, and this makes a lot of sense to have more range, more color range, basically. Okay. Sorry, I wanted to answer the other questions. NIK Collection and use it for Snapseed. What? I think Google bought NIK Collection and used it for Snapseed, then dropped NIK Collection before selling to docs. I don't know about that. So Google did own NIK Collection for some time, and they gave it out for free back then. This was in the time when they were really big into their idea of having a photo page, and a little bit competition with Flickr and a little bit competition with Facebook, with Google Plus, stuff like that. They also had this NIK Collection. They had their own software, which was pretty good. It was called Picasa, where you can organize your pictures, upload them. This is gone. The photo page is very much reduced in their features, so it's very sad to see that. And now they have Snapseed as an app and NIK Collection, but NIK Collection has been with DxO for several years. And they of course sell it. There's like I said, there's a free version for the NIK Collection. But it's an old version. I don't know if I should even share that. If I find the link, let's see, NIK Collection free. I think it's the 2008 version. Yeah, let's see here. Always someone who has the link. There we go. 2012. Yeah, that's it. So you have that. And then you enter your email address. And then you get the download link. So this is that. So you can download it from there. But it's the old version. Like I said, it's the old version. It's maybe not compatible with Affinity Photo. But it's probably like in the past, it also was a standalone software, so you should be able to use it with that. NIK developed a control point before Google bought them. Yeah. I was hoping AP has another way around of how to selection works. No, not I know of. Don't forget that a neutral control point will protect its area for other control points. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. So I haven't dived too deep into this newest version 2.5 of the NIK Collection. I still have to read up on that. Dynamic symmetry. Golden spiral. That's maybe a good point. So when you crop, you can go here, overlay, and then you have the golden spiral, and you have diagonals, and you have the thirds. and you can also have nothing. Personally, I'm more a fan of, because I don't like how this looks, this golden spiral. The thirds are good because thirds are thirds. There's nothing hard about that. But I would rather suggest you go to Google and you say golden spiral like that, and then you find something like this. Okay, that's not, you can download this as a PNG and then place it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just using a JPEG right now. Copy, go over to your Affinity Photo, and then put that in here and blend it with the background. You probably can't see it now. I set it to multiply, and now you can still move this around. You can resize it, and you can hold the, what is it, the shift key. You can see I can put this in a square format if I want to. The benefit here is, in this case, you have also these kind of rectangles here inside of that, which is additional information for the golden cut, not just the golden spiral. So you get a bit more information in here, and I think it looks nicer. I don't know why this is a bit bendy here. You see, this is kind of, it looks a bit strange. This curves nicer to my eye. I don't know why. Maybe it's exactly the same shape, which we can try. By the way, I've never tried that. Let's rotate this. This has a little bit of an outline. Let's give this a quick try. Make this exactly the edges here. Like that. Okay. Let's see now the Affinity Photo curve. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. The only difference is that the Affinity Photo one is like, it has this kind of very hair thin line, and the other one's a little bit thicker. It's the same. It's okay. Yeah. I still like this better because I can shape it any way I want, you know, and I can rotate it like the one in Affinity, you can only like rotate it. I have forgotten how, but you can rotate it. There's, I think, a combination, a key combination you need to press. But here, I can go here and I say, I want this, and then I want it like that, and then I want it like this. And it's just like, I can do whatever with it, you know, so it's nicer, it's easier, it's faster. So I rather do this with the picture and find maybe some interesting thing in here. And I can also use multiple if I want. Let's make a copy and say, okay, maybe there's another correlation. I want to have a correlation between her bubblegum and the face, and then also between her, I don't know, her shoulders and her head or something. You can play around with that to figure out different kind of constellations in your picture. What do you want in there and stuff like that, you know? So this kind of stuff. Yeah. And also, by the way, like I said, a good way is look online, look for pictures from artists you like. For example, oh God. Twilight. Yeah, here. What's his name again? I don't remember. Like, I really like the pictures of this guy. Here, this guy. Gregory Crutzen. That's his name. I like the way the pictures look. I like the way the composition as the story tells is always very strange. What's going on in the picture. So you can look at that, you can learn from that, also from the composition, from the way the story is told, from the way the elements are used, stuff like that. You will learn a lot from looking at the pictures of the people which works you admire and you want to be similar. And but you will still keep your own style at the same time, because you always have your own interests and your own aspirations. So you will still find back to your own thing to do. Let's go back to the chat. What time is it? Let's go another 15 minutes maybe, or then we have 3 hours. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh God, my voice. How to add the NIK collection is very easy. You simply install it with the installer that comes with like the software when you buy it. And then you go to File. No, sorry, you get to Edit and then to Preferences. And then here it says Photoshop Plugins. You click on that. And then you point it towards the folder where your NIK collection is installed. And then you restart Affinity Photo and it shows you all the plugins it found and that they are working as the status. So that's good. So it's very easy. You install it normally. There's nothing special about it. Point it to the folder, restart Affinity, done. And you can use it. Okay. Oh. Real quick, let's go here to this sharpener. I just wanted to show you because I really think that's an interesting feature, output sharpener. So the interesting thing here is now you can see output sharpening. Okay, that's interesting, doesn't work. Ah, now it works. Okay. I haven't used this until I installed it, so it's a bit different than I remember it. I'm sorry about that. But you can see here you can sharpen it for display, for inkjet, continuous tone, halftone, hybrid device. I'm actually not sure what that is. But you can the thing here is you can sharpen it for different purposes. And again, you have these control points where you can also sharpen it in different areas. And like we have seen before with what the smartphone is doing, sometimes it makes sense that you have sharper areas in one area, sharper picture in one area and less sharp in another area, because this is also how our awareness works. So it's also interesting to think about, and this is like art is very interesting because it has so many dimensions, and when you get started you don't even think about these dimensions. So artists often, also not often, but a part of artists, they think about not only how they create the work, but also how the person who looks at it is perceiving it. And the way our eye perceives things is not that we just look at things and everything is sharp, but it's very specific about the details that it picks out and says, okay, these are more important, these are less important, so these have to be sharper, they get more color, they get more detail, and others are less sharp, they get less detail, all these kind of things that are happening. For example, you might have noticed at night, you see colorful lights at the side of your eye, like a small light from another city, or a car is coming, and it's pretty colorful and bright. And then you look at it and it's not bright and it's not that colorful. The reason is because the side of your eye, your, how is it called? What is it called? The side of your vision is the peripheral vision. No, that has a certain. I don't remember the English word for it. It highlights these things that come from the side, so you are aware of them. And then if you look at them directly, you don't need that kind of huge awareness anymore. So it reduces it to those things that you are used to see. So it's like intensifying small details on the side. Peripheral vision, that's it, peripheral vision. Yeah. So yeah, and in art, sometimes this is important, especially if you want to make pictures look more than they actually are. Which, by the way, there's an interesting tutorial online from, oh god, what's his name? I don't remember the name of the channel. He is like, there was a question before in the chat on how do you make a picture bigger and preserve the detail or something like that. And the way he does it is he doesn't do it with the size, but he does it with a blurred picture and he makes it sharper. And so he makes it really sharp, but then it's very like noisy. And then he makes it blurry in like the skin parts, but then sharp where the eyes are and a little bit where the lips are and a little bit where the hair is. So normally where you would expect sharpness, and leave the other parts soft where you would expect softness. And then it looks so much sharper. When you look at it, you don't realize that this is actually, it doesn't look good, because it's just highlighting or sharpening the areas that you want to perceive with your eyes as sharp, and suddenly you perceive all of the picture as sharp, or all of the face at least as sharp. So that's pretty good. And that has a lot of tricks, a lot of things. You might also have realized a lot of artists, a lot of photographers, they use the trick that they intentionally have something in the picture in the foreground or in the surrounding that is unsharp, a lot unsharper than the main subject. And not only does it look cool, but it makes this main subject look a lot crisper and sharper, because you compare it to something that is blurred. And even if the original picture isn't that sharp, or, I mean, it is sharp, but it looks a lot sharper and more crisp and more attention drawing because of that kind of effect of putting it in direct comparison with something that's not as sharp. Oh God, I'm again talking too much. Okay. Have you bought more classes? Yes, I was like, I really want to do more online classes. I have done one online class on Skillshare, and I was thinking in my mind, ideally, I would do one every month, or at least like one a month, two a month. And since then I have created exactly 0 of them. I have made one and then not another, which is really stupid, because they are nice. The people really enjoyed them. I don't know. I'm lazy. I don't know. I'm just lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm doing a lot of things, as you know, with my tutorials and the products and all the kind of things. And but still, some things are like, I put them on such a long line. Who hasn't clicked the like button? Don't be too obsessed about the like button. It's really cool to like the video, of course, but it's okay if people don't like it. Some people are just here to enjoy the show. Don't worry about that. Oh, by the way, there is never mind. Okay, let's go back to the actually, I have to look at this a little bit more with the sharpening. I have remembered this differently, where you have different devices here, but you actually don't. So I have to read up on that. Let's go back to the other effects that you have in here. For example, what we haven't looked at yet is the Silver Effects Pro. By the way, I'm pretty sure in the past they have been called Silver Versa. Am I wrong about that? You have V-Versa and then you have Silver Versa. I think so. And now they are Silver Effects Pro, which is also nice. So if you use that, you can see again, there are pre-made versions that you can select from. Some are better, some are worse. The good thing about the pre-made versions is always that they give you ideas of what you can do with it. For example, this one is pretty crisp, and then we have others that are like this, for example. Sorry. This is very soft, and this is very crisp. And the interesting thing is, I think a lot of people, when they think about black and white, they think just black and white is the absence of color. But that's not true. Black and white is an extremely expressive format, and I think it went a little bit out of favor in recent years, because we have all of these candy shop pictures that look amazing on your phone and stuff like that. So it's good that they are there. But black and white photography is a real interesting artistic language. Is a little bit like poetry, because you are so, it's like a haiku of a picture basically, because you are so reduced on just these values, these gray values that you have, and all the things you can do with that. But then you can work out a lot of detail and a lot of story that's in the picture that's hidden behind all of the colors and the effects and all the kind of things you can do. That there is this kind of structure behind that, where you can do some really interesting things. And you can see here that the picture completely changes depending on what kind of style you use. And also the expression of the woman, the personality of the woman in the picture changes dramatically depending on what kind of style you select here. For example, this looks like a lot more dramatic and a little bit sad maybe, compared to this one, which is more like a little bit sexual maybe. So you can do a lot with that. Here's another style, not the best one maybe, but there's a lot of styles in here. But you can go also custom, where you save your own styles. And the amazing thing now is, if you look here on the right side, because you would think, oh, there's a ton of filters in here. No, it's just these settings. That's it. There's nothing else in here, you know? So, where was the other one with the frame? There's a little bit of frames that you have here. So when you go here on the right side, you have global adjustments like brightness, contrast, structure. You can, of course, again, do selective adjustments with these control points. You have color filters, and you have also film types here. And there you can, this is a very interesting part. Again, you have in here the branded films, which is pretty cool. And you have even more of them because they are just the black and white films. Some very like specific special things that you probably wouldn't find or have never heard of on the market. Like I have never heard of Undox or Bragger or stuff like that. My cat is back and really looking for cuddling tonight. Lolo, come on. So that's pretty cool. Again, simulations of actual black and white films. You can play around with that. Today would cost a lot of money. And then you can set the grain and you can set the sensitivity, 2 different colors, and you can set also levels and curves here for this individual film. So like in a laboratory, basically. So that's pretty, it's pretty detailed. As you can see, here's a ton of films in here that you can experiment with. So this is really, really amazing. I'm a bit sad actually that I have done a video about black and white in the past, and not a lot of people are looking for that, because I would really enjoy doing more tutorials about that and go a little bit into these different art styles and stuff, but I don't think a lot of people would like that. But now we have the super fan community, and there I can post things that other people on my channel wouldn't want to see, and that's really positive. By the way, I want to point this out also. Sorry, I'm breaking into another topic right now. Just for a second. My fan community, the people. Oh, there's other people who want to join. So you have seen I have done these unboxing videos. On the people on my channel didn't like them very much. I think over 80% don't want to see them. I did a vote on them, they don't want to see them. So I have done them here. I have done 3 so far. You can see here on the side it says popular topics. I have created these kind of topics, and you can click here, unboxing. You can see I have made an unboxing for the Gorilla Pod. I've made an unboxing for my Rode Video Micro, which is a microphone you put on your DSLR, and of the Osmo Mobile 3. That has been on YouTube. I have removed it in the meantime because people just weren't interested. But in my fan community, I can do that. And there I can also do videos about these black and white styles, for example. All right. And also you have these kind of finishing adjustments down here. So you have the toning. You can see there's a lot of different tonings in here. You can do this kind of colder blue effects that are very popular, and brown effects, sepia stuff. Coffee, copper paper, there's sepia, ambrotype. There's a lot of stuff in here, so it's really, really cool. And of course, as you can see here, toning changes the settings below. These levers are jumping around, so you can do your own styles. It's not just these, you can do your own thing. Vignette, of course, you have, which you can turn on and off and have these different settings, and you have different kind of frames, so it's not just like there's some presets in here. And you have these kind of burnt edges also, and you can decide what kind of edge it is. There's also presets. So there's a lot of stuff here, and the image borders, as you've seen before, like which is positive copies of pictures, not negatives, but like developed on paper. Is there a name for in English for a paper photo? I'm not sure if it has, or is it just called a paper photo? I'm not sure. But you have different kind of styles from like old-timey pictures which has these white frames. By the way, something I'm missing here is when I remember the old pictures of my grandparents, they not only had these kind of white edges, but the white edges often had these kind of nice cuts around them. This is one thing that's missing here. That would be a nice touch to have the cut and then a shadow and then a little bit of a background. So it's like a paper picture actually on a surface. Maybe you can also have different surfaces, but you can still do this in afterwards. You edit this in here and then you put it on a paper frame, which is on a table. You can do that in Affinity Photo. Okay, let's go back to the chat. Is there something more? Let's post the superfan community. I think I will do some videos for the superfan community. I can't promise when I will do them, but I want to do some because this is a topic I'm also very interested in. And I think some other people are too. And I think the people in the superfan community, they are more into photo editing and into these kind of things than the other people in the community, which are also very interested, of course, in that. But of course, I think a lot of my followers are not interested in everything I'm doing and not interested in everything that Affinity Photo can do, which of course is natural. It's completely normal. So that's completely okay. Yeah, rippled paper, stuff like that, different kind of paper types, but you can do that in Affinity Photo. By the way, I have a tutorial for that. Just to do a little bit of self-promotion. And also to point that out, if you look for a subject, go to my channel, and then when you are on my channel, here is a little bit of a search icon. You can go on here, and then you can search for topics and see if I've done a video about that. Let's type in old photo. And you can see I have done a tutorial on how to make a new photo look like an old photo with an actual paper edge and sitting also onto a background with a shadow around that. And also I've done other tutorials how to fix a ripped up picture, how to get the colors back, how to turn a picture vintage, all these kind of things. Colorized, this is not really colorized, it's more of an intro into the idea or how to get like started with colorization, stuff like that. But you can see also here's a black and white video. Didn't go too well. Like in 1 year it only has 1,900 views. That's not very much. Anyways, okay, so you can find this stuff here. Good. Whew. Should we do some more Q&A? Do you have some other questions? My throat is a little bit sore already, so maybe I think 3 hours is pretty good for streaming. Yeah. Join the superfan community. I'm happy to see you there. It's open for everybody. So come in and find out. What is that? I think it's like a perfume brand or something. Okay. Let's have a look at the chat. Good. Okay. Yeah. So if you have some more questions, ask them now. Otherwise, I will wait some more minutes and then finish the stream for today. Whoa, also my cat wants to play. He needs dearly attention. Lolo. Lolo. Oh, there we go. On the camera. Let's move the microphone a little bit over. Whoop. Turn off the keyboard. Lolo, schau mal. Da. Oh, Schatzi. Schau mal in die Kamera, Schatzi. Komm. Da. Oh. Ja. Da ist das Mauzi. Ah, Schatzi. Oh, du Guter. Du Guter. Spielen wir dann ein bisschen, huh? Komm, Schatzi. Setz dich ein bisschen hierher. Okay. Okay, I think apparently no more questions. Thank you, Arturo. Thank you, Ola, for joining. Thank you, Lori. Yeah, perfect. Oh, by the way, another thing about the fan community, one thing I want to do in future live streams is that I ask people to post their pictures so I can talk about them in the live stream to give a little bit of review or stuff like that, or show how I would edit that picture, stuff like that. So that's also a benefit, and that's also exclusive to the superfan community. So another reason to join. Okay. Was there another question? I couldn't add NIK Collection as you explained. Maybe you don't have the new version. If you downloaded the old version, the free version, that might not be supported, but the new version, the 2.5 version, should be supported in Affinity Photo. If not, you can write in the official Affinity Photo forums, so they can have a look at that. Maybe it's something, maybe your operating system, maybe you're at Windows 7 or an old version of Mac OS or stuff like that, where there is problems because of that. So there might be different reasons for that. Okay, good. All right, thank you very much, everybody. Was very nice to do another live stream for you. Stay safe in the next days. Stay indoor if you can. And, well, I wish you a very good time. Enjoy Affinity Photo. Rewatch some of my tutorials, of course, if you want to. And, yeah, have a nice day or night, depending on where you are on the planet. Good. Bye. There we go.